Throwbacks are on everyone's minds at Darlington, but round 11 of the 2022 MPI Cup Series will prove to be pivotal. The track that's too tough to tame will have to be tamed by somebody tonight, and apparently, I can't tame my intro this evening, but at in a season where Mario Miranda is starting to pull away, 3 wins now on the season, somebody has to step up, somebody has to start to turn the tides here at Darlington. You've got to get more points, more stage points, more playoff points, and certainly more wins. Hi, welcome to PitStop TV, the virtual Darlington Raceway for tonight's Throwback 200. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, joined by Emerson Arden on the mic, and Darlington always lives up to its many nicknames, Emerson, but with this new Gen 7 car that's been the talk of the town for years now, it's certainly more challenging, I think, to get around Darlington than ever.
Well, absolutely. This next-gen car brings a lot of new challenges to the board, but we go to one of the toughest tracks on the schedule with it. We have to think about everything you knew about Darlington in the past and kind of throw it out, because you're already off to a bad start, I guess, with a whole new steering box. You're doing rack and pinion steering now. You're taking these corners in a manner like you've never taken before. If we reference back to today's race, in the NASCAR Cup Series, they were shifting throughout the race today from 5th to 4th gear. It's another aspect these drivers have to learn. I'd imagine most of these drivers have gotten to contact with that to this point of the season, but you're still not used to that at Darlington, at a track that is very narrow, close quarters. Now throw in the aspect that you're going to be shifting throughout the lap as well. It is quite the challenge. I'm ready to see which one of these drivers is going to be able to tackle it the best.
It's certainly going to take some brawn today, I think. That's one good way to put it. The Lady in Black is always tough on these cars, always tough on these drivers. Today is going to be no different. If anything, it's going to be a little bit worse. Drivers already definitely concerned as to how they're going to do here at Darlington Raceway. Let's take a look at our track map presented by Whiplash Media Simcams. And Emerson, there's not a whole lot of explaining to do, right? It's an egg-shaped oval, turns 1 and 2. They're a wider radius. There we go. I think it said wider radius at first, but wider radius. They're almost flat out in the old cars. Not so much now. There's a pretty big lift into 1, and you've got to really modulate throughout the corner, I think, to keep from the car getting a little bit too loose or a little bit too tight, and it seems like lap to lap that could change.
Absolutely. There's a big lift into 1, even maybe a little bit of brake, heavy braking into 3. Especially through 1 and 2, it's such a long corner. You start to notice that these drivers start to kind of modulate the throttle to keep the grip in the rear tires. They'll put a little bit of throttle right before they're about to break free to kind of keep the car going straight, or I guess straighter through the corner, so you don't lose control. It really is balancing like an eggshell under your throttle pedal, or like an eggshell down there. Trying to get the car to kind of rotate through the corner. Once you're straight off of turn 2, that's when you can kind of work your way over the bumps out of 2, back full throttle as you head on to the braking zone for turn 3. It basically is the way to get into turn 3 effectively. And then you're really picking your poison, which line you want to run there, if you want to be up by the wall to get on the throttle sooner, or down by the bottom to be a little bit more safer. But it all comes back around, and that's how you're going to have to do these laps one by one.
As we look to round number 11 this evening, let's take a look first at our driver standings this evening. Yes, I said driver standings. We'll get to that part in a second. Driver standings after 10 rounds of 35. Mario Miranda won last week at Dover. Austin Reedy, I think, needs to get back to his winning ways. It's been a little while since car 96 has gone to victory lane, and you can see the big gap between Miranda and Stemping at the top of the standings. It seems like car 99 is starting to walk everybody else, but there's still room for improvement. There's still a ton of time in this regular season, Emerson, where these guys can make up those points and reel Miranda back in. It's a matter of executing, though.
Absolutely. We've seen kind of who is able to kind of master the gauntlet of tracks we've gone through so far to this point of the schedule. And not necessarily that we're starting tonight, because tonight, even though it's a 1.36, 1.37 mile track, it's, I guess, an intermediate by length. It is a whole different animal. We're about to get to that, we'll keep calling like the meat and potatoes of the NASCAR schedule, a bunch of intermediates and a bunch of tracks we're used to seeing on the NASCAR schedule, instead of kind of a bunch of wild cards like a dirt track and new road courses and a plate and super speedway races. We're kind of getting into the more of that ground part, and that's where you're going to see the drivers in the point standings really who are going to be mainstays for the title. You're going to see those drivers really come to life in these next few races.
You see here our season schedule in 2022 at the MPI Cup Series, and we are at round number 11, Darlington, this evening. It's Kansas next week, then an all-star race. A break from the points earnings, I suppose, but we'll still be live. We'll still have coverage here of it. Then Charlotte, Gateway, Sonoma before we have a week coverage break when Podium picks up Nashville, and then we're back all the way through to Daytona when we, through Watkins Glen at least for us here, and then Podium picks up Daytona to cut off until the playoffs. So, there's plenty of time to get things in, but you are starting to get to where you're losing races, right? If you haven't done it just yet, if you haven't gotten a win just yet, you have to soon. You have to start thinking about it, because then you want that second to come along so you can position yourself for the playoffs. You don't want to just be in. Sure, everybody will take it just being in, but you want to position yourself in the playoffs to at least make a late run, at least get through that first round, and see if you can get through Texas, Talladega, and the Charlotte Roval in round number 2, if not round 3 as well. Las Vegas, Homestead, Rockingham. You want to start positioning yourself over the summer. If you're behind the game at this point, you've got to really play catch up. So let's get back to the standings, though. Let's get back to what I was talking about. We had driver standings. Now, Emerson, let's take a look at our team standings for the first time this season, presented by Auto Tempest, Drinking Bros Racing, at the top of the board, Prestige World Ride. I can't, Emerson. I apparently cannot do W's and R's.
It's all right. Prestige Worldwide Racing, 17 points back of the team leading the points standings, Drinking Bros Racing. Podium Esports only 30 back, and Burnt Rubber Media 50 back. Now, being that their team standings, these are really close, and this still can change over the course of the next few weeks. It's actually insane to look at how close they are, and even then, TDW Racing there, 51 back, and Sega Keep Motorsports 80 points back. They're still well within this, and I wouldn't look too soon from look too far away from Fast Banana Racing, because there's still a lot that can happen here. Maybe we'll see if these guys are maybe more of those intermediate type of guys. We'll see if they can rise up to the Auto Tempest team standings in the coming weeks.
There's our first look this season at the Auto Tempest team standings. Let's look now at our practice standings, as Daniel Michel has been fastest so far throughout the course of the session. Now, the session has been going on for quite some time at this point. Steven Stempian, the fastest car that is on track, in 3rd position. Brandon Banks sitting in 8th, the next fastest that is actually on the track running. Lawson Peel out there, and you're noticing all the throwbacks, of course. We've got plenty. We'll talk about them to the best of our ability throughout the course of the evening. There are a lot to talk about. Here's Garrett Brown's throwback, of course, to Mark Martin. Austin Shoemaker, a great throwback to, I think it's just a general Ford throwback, but I could be entirely wrong. I could be educated there, and I gotta love this one. Justin Winters throwing back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. When he and Dale Sr., of course, went over with NASCAR to Japan with those Coca-Cola schemes. Beautiful number 88 this evening for Justin Winters.
Fantastic car. How about this? Here's the 77 of Brian Curry, throwing it back to Dave Blaney's car way back in the early 2000s. That yellow car, the yellow Jasper car, was always something you could always spot out. And the session's ticking over here. We're getting qualifying underway. And well,
I think somebody got to set the session to roll over. Wow, we suddenly woke up big time.
Good morning.
Good morning, Darlington, South Carolina. I was just about to make a note of the fact that not only were we racing under the lights, we were starting under the lights, but it seems like Dakota Curtis needs to go back to session setting up school. Anyways, well, here we go. We've got interesting weather conditions now that we were not expecting. 76.5 degrees in the air, 83 degrees on track, and 10-mile-an-hour winds out of the north currently. We'll see how those change throughout the course of qualifying and today's race. It is a 200-mile race. That means 147 laps as Dakota Curtis, one of the first cars to hit the track, and I don't think he's too concerned about the session setup. That number 1 car looks good. It really does look good, Emerson. That is a beautiful throwback to Denny Hamlin's better times with paint schemes, in my opinion. Those older FedEx cars, beautiful.
And certainly, if you're looking for some
luck, he's already put it in the wall.
I was just going to say, if you're going to throw back to anyone at Darlington, why not Denny Hamlin? He's always a driver that you see toward the front almost every year at Darlington. That's definitely a driver you want to be looking at. How about the 55 here, Joe Sanchez, throwing back to Michael Waltrip.
Love this one for Joe Sanchez. Really do enjoy this 55 car. As some times start to go on the board, we'll bring that up for you. Judd Danielson, the first one out there. Justin Erb now goes a little bit faster. How about Justin Erb's throwback here? He's got the wrong rims on it, but still a good throwback here to Matt Kenseth. Love this one. Really creative paint there by Warren Kyle Keith.
Beautiful car. This is always a car I look forward to on the track, that purple car, because of that shade. How about here? We got the 7 of Isaac Mock. He's working him down into turn number 3. Mock, second on the charts right now. A little bit of a surprise from where he was in practice. We'll see if he can keep it up there. He's actually down to 4th, but his second lap is going to be key here.
Here's a nice throwback for Curtis Kelly. We're going to have to try and get through as many of these as we can. Curtis Kelly, I love this. Doing it for Curtis Kelly, or I mean, doing it for Dale, as we unveiled that one on social media. Kip Easley's got a nice one out there, throwing back, of course, to the number 40. Oh, God, that's a David Strimmy card. I repeat, not Sterling Marlin, but it's David Strimmy, number 40, that he's throwing back to. Sean Kalis out there, of course, throwing back to Richard Petty. You kind of have to when you're in car 43. There's been so many iconic 43s over the course of time. That's just a layup. Richard Swavely out there in car number 32, throwing back to Jeffrey Bodine. Love that Burnt Arbor Media number 32 Toyota Camry this evening. And Parker Bland is out in a throwback to one of his Season 2 paint schemes here in the MPI Cup Series. Love that concept with the MPI Cup Series, urging some drivers to throw back to their older schemes if they ran that long ago. Justin Hendry's got a good one. And Emerson, we talked about a little bit pre-race, pre-broadcast even. This has got to be, I think, my favorite on the track this evening. Just something about those old Red Bull racing schemes, man. I love them. I've got one sitting up in my die-cast cabinet. I love this paint.
I can still reminisce on Casey Kane taking that scheme to victory lane last back in 2011 at Phoenix. That is a good-looking car. Working straight around Darlington. They didn't have the best of luck as a team. Seeing if Hendrick maybe turned that around with that scheme.
Justin Hendry down the back stretch out of Indiana. Here's Wyatt Brackett. A nice Winston. I believe that'd be Jimmy Spencer throwback as he whips it around at a turn number 2. And he will put it down in the fence. Chris Shoemaker on track as well. He's just matching Kevin Harvick's paint scheme from this week. Can't blame him. Ross Harlow, though. Beautiful Hendrick Motorsports throwback. And, yeah, I certainly agree with this ideology for the car 5 for a throwback.
Absolutely, Hendrick Motorsports. It already has its storied history. What are we looking at? Nearly 40 years now as a team. I mean, this is a scheme that's ran before in the Cup Series in real life. Why not?
Somebody's been in the wall. Darlington stripes will get you even in qualifying. That's a good Dave Blaney throwback there as well. We got at least 2 Dave Blaney throwbacks in the field. This one, Cody Kinsey, back to his Amoco days in the 93 car. And, of course, we saw the number 77 for Brian Curry. How about Warren Kyle Keith? He's on track. And a throwback to Tony Stewart. I like this one. These are back to the, I guess, the more good old days of Tony Stewart. The days where I feel like he was more potent as a driver.
Absolutely. 02, 05. This was one of his
this would be
biggest
05, 06, 07, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I guess, yeah, with the black on the car. Right there, right. Ross Harlow, top of the charts.
R5 apparently has got it tonight. A few more cars hitting the track. We saw Warren Kyle Keith. How about Austin Reedy? A couple of wins in the season so far, Emerson. And he's got a throwback on that car.
Yeah, it's a 1975 Richard Childress. An intriguing throwback. Love to read into it. It's a beautiful car. Love that baby blue in the car. You're not going to be able to miss it.
And I like what Team Designs did over the rear wheel there, where he actually contoured the logo to fit the rear wheel. That is effort, I gotta admit. As here's Justin Winters getting on track. Let's ride on board with car 88 and really see what we're talking about with the challenge of getting one of these Jet 7 cars around here. Let's pull up the telemetry and just ride on board and listen what he has to do in turns 1 and 2. It's not at all what it used to be like.
They're just a little bit of a lip, but right back onto the throttle. A little bit of a lift against center corner. Then you're back on the throttle. Holding it 5th gear. Gonna get down here. This is where you're braking, down to the 4th gear.
So you haven't been downshifting in 1 and 2?
I guess it's more driver preference. If you think you need a little bit more stability, keep it in 5th gear, right? But if you think you can handle the added RPM to the rear tires, go ahead and jump down to 4th.
Yeah, added RPM usually will help keep the rear end spooled up and actually help a car turn if you're getting tight. So maybe the downshift going to help these guys if they do start to track tight. But if they're tracking a little more loose, maybe keep it in 5th. The problem with that is in my little bits of testing myself, I found that 5th gear was actually a lot more free. Justin Winters very free in 3 and 4. The track is a lot warmer now than it was in that practice session. The sun is back on it. It's only going to get warmer throughout the course of the day. And now we're looking at a day race as opposed to a night race. So a lot of different challenges for these guys. As Steven Sempion's on track. Let's check out his number 81. Inspired by Dale Jr.'s Father's Day throwback. You know what? That's kind of fitting for racing on Mother's Day.
How about that? The irony of that. By the way, I do want to say Happy Mother's Day to all you mamas out there.
Thank you for picking up that segue.
We're looking at it's 613, 614 right now in sim. So I guess we should be
so we should still
transitioning
get some.
tonight.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Mario Miranda on track. I was not expecting this, but I like this from Mario Miranda, the Jeff Burton X-Side throwback. Very much like this. And you know what? This goes back to when I first remember NASCAR racing. At least, I'm sure I'm younger than a lot of people who might be watching, and certainly younger than some of the guys driving. But, you know, I came in right, well, I was born in 2000. Stempian goes to pole with a 29.45.7. I was born in 2000, so I remember those early 2000s just that little bit. So these old 99 cars with Jeff Burton behind the wheel, I remember these, and I'm really fond of them. I, for some reason, loved the Jeff Burton 99, so I like this nod by Mario Miranda. Alex Muscarella out there, and Emerson, I think this is going to be one of your favorites of the day.
Absolutely. This is back to the 2010, 2011 car. I'll say 2010 since that was just kind of a better year for us Jimmy fans. Yeah, this is when he became a 5-time champion. A great car to bring to the track if you're looking for a little bit of luck here. And yeah, looking at him come down turn 4. He's a little bit lower on the track than most there out of turn 4. Look at Joseph Mahar's car, though.
What am I missing here? I do not recognize this. I'd imagine this is a throwback. Maybe we can interview him at some point and ask him. I don't recognize where, you know, what this is not referencing, but, you know, what this is a throwback to, if it's a throwback at all. It could just be a special paint. I don't know. By all means, if somebody knows out there, I would love to know kind of what this is a throwback to on the 19 car for Joseph Mahar. I see Whiplash Media chiming in about the logos they had to do on some of those BRM cars, and yeah, definitely some big time effort. And I like this one as well, as Muscarella goes to the top of the board. Maybe it's that 2010 you know, ness that's working for you, Emerson. Car 48's quick.
I guess coming off the back of that great run he had at Dover, follow it up with a nice little starting position here at Darlington. If he can hold it up there, we're seeing here Brian Curry still out there, who places it 5th on the charts at number 77.
Good run there for car 77. Joseph Mahar still on track. This is lap 2. He's wrapping it up. He's in 3 and 4 now. Let's go on board in the car and listen in. Trying to track faster than a 29.9. 29.639. I'll move him up into the top 10, 8th place. And he will just about do it in qualifying as well. James Kunkel, the only other car that's loaded in. And he is actually down in the pit lane, not moving. So he's not going to record a time. He will stay down at the bottom with the guys that did not get a time in. Reedy took 3 attempts. Brackett took 2. Kunkel took 2. Warren Kyle Keith took 3. Chris Shoemaker took 3. Yeah, and then you just had a few guys that didn't take an attempt at all, but you had several drivers that actually tried to get laps in here and just could not get one in. So I think that's proving just how tough these next-gen cars are here at the Darlington Raceway as we tick on over to our race session. Again, 200 miles, that's 147 laps here today, and we have got your starting grid. On pole, Alex Muscarella in the Jimmy Johnson throwback, I think trying to bring some better Jimmy vibes to Darlington tonight. Steven Stempian rolls off in the 2nd spot in car number 81. Starting 3rd, you'll find Ross Harlow in car 5, a Hendrick Motorsports throwback with Mario Miranda alongside last week's winner in 4th. Starting 5th, it's Brian Curry in the number 77. Lawson Peel rolls off 3rd. Throwing it back to Herbie with Curtis Kelly on the inside, doing it for Dale, and Joseph Mahar outside of position number 8. To wrap up your top 10, though, you've got a throwback to Mikey Joe Sanchez there on the bottom side of row 5 with Brandon Banks wrapping things up in the 10th spot.
Row number 6, we'll find the 88 of Justin Winters, who we saw out there in qualifying with that Dale Jr. car. Richard Swavely there will make up the rest of row 6 there in P12. Row number 7, it'll be the 14 of Austin Shoemaker. The 1 of Dakota Curtis, seeing if Denny will deliver today. Row number 8, it'll be the 7 of Isaac Mock. The 45 of Brad Fulham. Working our way back to row number 8, it'll be the 24 of Justin Erb and that Crown Royal machine. Well, Crown Royal throwback. And the 01 of Parker Bland thrown back to himself. Row number 10, the 9 of Bill Schoonover, and the 27 of Kip Easley.
Starting 21st, Garrett Brown, throwback to Mark Martin this evening with Judd Danielson outside with that beautiful Davey Allison, number 85. Sean Kalis rolls off from the 23rd position. Justin Hendry, 24th. Starting 25th this evening, you'll find Cody Kinsey in car 93. Then it's Ray Rogers outside of him. Starting 27th, two-time winner, and he was the points leader for a lot of this season. Austin Reedy coming into tonight, third in the standings. Daniel Michel rolls off 28th on his outside. Wrapping up your top 30 in row 15, it's Chris Shoemaker and Dustin Reeves.
Row number 16 will be the 42 of Warren Cal Keefe and the Tony Stewart throwback. Daniel Holdcroft there in the 31, starting in 32nd. Row 17, it'll be driver of the number 10 Wyatt Brackett, the 2 of Travis Stevens. He will start 34th. Row number 18, it'll be the 26 of Logan Sturgeon, the 75 of Charles Feltz. Back to row number 19, it'll be drivers Casey Knighton in the 84, Chris Bogart in the 17, 37, and 38 respectively. And on the final row of the grid tonight, it'll be the 3 of James Kunkel.
These guys get rolling through turns 1 and 2. You can see them up onto the track. Their one warm-up lap in. Weather conditions have not changed much, Emerson, and I expect this track temp only to go higher and higher throughout the course of the day, or at least the next maybe half hour of racing. It's going to get warm for these guys. 76 degrees in the air. I know that might not sound like a lot, but in the south, with the sun beating down, this track is going to take temperature. I'm really curious as to exactly how that works for these guys, exactly how much temperature the track takes, and how much of a pain that ends up being for their tires as they work into turn number 3 past the Earnhardt Tower there in that third corner. 200 miles the distance here this evening in the Throwback 200 for the MPI Cup Series as we get ready to bring you action of all 200 miles. Thanks for tuning in here on PitStop TV. So glad to have you watching along with us. And Alex Muscarella in control of the field, headed down to the flag stand to get this race underway. Barney gets that green flag waving. We're off and away at Darlington. Already crashing. One car up in the wall. Maybe not crashing, but the 99 of Miranda in the fence.
Miranda had a big hit there, and that's going to drop him about 5, 6, 7 spots, and cars are still looking to dart around, and Muscarella's gotten out to a big advantage already.
Good looks for car 48 so far. Through turns 3 and 4 for the first time, and down to the speed shot across the start-finish line. Muscarella leads in the 48.
That advantage he had already starting to be cut in half right now by Steven Stempian, who reeled him back in hard out of turn 4. They've stayed stagnant through 1 and 2, and Ross Harlow, Brian Curry rounding out the rest. Oh, get a car darting out to the bottom side of the racetrack. That's Justin Winters.
Car 88 in trouble, and Winters way down to the bottom side. He looks like he's tracking to the pit lane here. He's got a lot of left side damage. He's definitely been in that fence.
Well, he missed the pit entry there if he was trying to pit, but certainly looking to catch his breath there. Unfortunate start to the day, but 147 laps, 140.
Oh, Alex Muscarella out front! Oh, and you know what? Mahar down along the inside lane, and he's going to spin as he hang on to it. Just barely keeps it out of the field. He will go for a full spin, though, and that should generate our first caution of the evening. It may not. It's going to stand. We keep racing. Muscarella's barely got the lead down to turn 1. Stempian all over him.
How did he hold the lead? How did he keep that thing going in the right direction? Alex Muscarella now he's under heavy attack from Steven Stempian. We'll see now. It's a much easier time onto the throttle down the back straightaway, but everybody lined up nose to tail and everybody pouncing. They smelling blood in the water. Those rear tires lit up on the 48 car. It'll take a moment for them to get back down to, I guess, happy racing temperature.
On board with Dakota Curtis, you can see how the field is really spaced out a little further back. He's ahead of Isaac Mock right now in the 12th spot. And now that these guys have had a few laps to kind of catch their breath, Emerson, a moment to relax. They're on to lap 5 now, 147. Oh. Is that Muscarella down there again? It is.
It is.
Loses the lead now, down to second, down to third maybe. Harlow goes on by. Go! Big correction in the wall hard. Curry's got a lot of damage. Miranda goes on by. Beal goes on by. But the 48 is junked. That right side is destroyed. Oh my goodness. Curry as well.
I remember hearing that exact phrase in 2010 at Darlington as well for the 48 car. Not a happy time, but that is unfortunate. The overcorrection into the outside wall. Oh no!
I think Curry just altered that forward.
Yeah, he is now gone from the server, and Muscarella is still dropping down the running order. Heartbreak to start from the pole and only 5 laps in. And these next gen cars, they're tough to drive. You're used to maybe tires taking 2-3 laps to get up to temperature. These things we can see anywhere in the race 5 to 7 laps for tires to get up to temperature, and he was still struggling. He might have honestly overheated the right rear tire, if anything. And he's just dropping out of running order. He's not going to fall outside the top 10 at this rate.
He's currently 10th. Dakota Curtis going on by in car 1 drops him down outside the top 10, now down to 12th as Herb goes on by. Tragedy striking for the 48. You know, that feels all too fitting in all of the wrong ways for the way the 48 kind of went out, or at least the way Jimmy Johnson went out in the NASCAR Cup Series. That's painful. That really is painful for Alex Muscarella. Had such a great run as well at Dover, at a track that the 48 needs to run well at, I feel like. This just... I hate to rub salt in the wound, Emerson, but this is a tough one.
It is, and just watch him drudge down the running order. It's Daniel Michel who set the fastest lap, and here we got this battle going into turn 1.
Curtis Kelly goes on by Lawson Peel, and that's for 4th. Mario Miranda, after his lap 1 mishap, has reeled himself back in, albeit with some damage on the right side there, Emerson. You can see a little bit of right front damage. It's a little tough to see from the onboard. Oh, even some left front damage. Both sides of the car have taken a beating in the rubber 99. So already, plenty of Darlington stripes to go around.
Now, I don't know what happened to him, but Daniel Michel is in 37th, but he ran the fastest lap, and I was looking for him on the timing sheet to see where he was, and see he's 37, he's about to be lapped, and he's running the fastest lap.
Looks like he started from the pit lane.
That would kind of make sense as to why he's that far back. I guess he was assuming, and I guess he was right in that sense, that there's going to be a lot of carnage up front. It just never resulted in the yellow.
You know what? Where the data is not populating the graphic, and I hate when drivers do this, but sometimes they have to or whatever, but it does not populate the data there in our graphic because he started from the pit lane. If the driver, for some reason, if the driver does not take to the grid pre-race, it doesn't give us the data there. So that's the sign right there to us that he did not start the race with the field. He started from the pit lane, and I mean he's running the field down. He's already within 3.5 seconds of Casey Knighton, so he's certainly catching cars, and it won't even track to other cars. You can see that, but it's not the worst decision. The only problem is if you look out the rear, you can see Steven Stempian already.
Yeah, Stempian just came off of turn 2, so he only has the length of the back straightaway as a buffer, only 12 laps in. If anything, I guess he's hoping that for that stage, yelling Muscarella just not having the greatest times. All the way down, nearly outside the top 30.
Yeah, the stage, I think, is maybe not reasonable for him anymore. He might want to just come in and pit, get it dealt with, get back out there, and try and salvage what he can as the race goes on. I mean, it's going to be tough. I think he's gearing up to pit here. He's down at the 4th. No, maybe not. He's going to try and tough this out, but if there's steering damage at Darlington and these next-gen cars, I really don't know if it's the best idea for him to keep going. Obviously, he's the one with the steering wheel in his hands. He'll make that judgment call, but we'll see. Here's a gaggle of cars. Charles Feltz in it. Logan Sturgeon, Cody Kinsey. This is down around the 30th spot.
Yeah, these drivers, they're just trying to hang on. Sooner or later, they're going to have to be battling with one another to try to keep themselves ahead of each other, keep themselves ahead of the leader who might be coming up if we keep this stage green. But it'll be interesting. Back over to turn 1, we have the 9 of Bill Schoonover looking on.
A few cars here. Judd Danielson, Justin Hendry, Ray Rogers, Warren Kyle Keith. And Alex Muscarella has now dropped behind Daniel Michel in the 37th position of 38 cars still in this race. Joseph Mahar is unfortunately 38th, dead last of the cars still running. Brian Curry, the only car out, 15 laps in. Hendry a little slow out of 4. Here comes Ray Rogers to take advantage. And he'll do so. That is good for 20th for the 18. Hendry way up the racetrack. Keith goes on by. Here comes Brackett.
White Brackett looking on. This will be for the 22nd position. The Red Bull machine trying to hold on and at least keep themselves in the game for a later time. But right now, no damage so far. Just trying to keep that 11 going in the right direction. Brackett makes easy work of them.
So our race leader Steven Sempion throwback to Dale Jr. and Ralph Earnhardt at the same time, and a bit of a Budweiser throwback in general. One at Talladega, he's been good this season, Emerson, and we've seen a bit of how he's been, on some of the more traditional racetracks that are not Talladega, for example. He's been good, but this is a new level of good for him. We haven't seen him lead like this on one of these more traditional driver ovals in some time, if ever.
Sure, Stempian, you usually see him hanging around a top 5, even the podium, a lot of times this season. But it is intriguing. It did kind of come at the expense of Alex Muscarella, but at the same time, he qualified up here to take advantage of the situation like that. Now, the other thing, I guess, to think as the sun starts to set here at Darlington is how will he fare with lap traffic at a track that is already incredibly difficult to pass on.
And I'm going to be honest, I think that's why you saw the move that you saw on lap 100, 292 of 293 earlier. In the NASCAR race, as Curtis Kelly gives the wall a love tap out of turn 2. I think you saw the bump and run to win earlier today because it's so tough to pass in these cars here at Darlington. You can run somebody down from seconds back over the course of 20 laps, sure, but how are you going to pass them? It's really, really tough. There's a really fine line. It's not like Homestead where you've got 3 or 4 lanes that are usable. And hey, in this car, we don't even know how that's going to go yet. You've really got to be, I don't even know what the word to be. I mean, you've got to take your moments to pass when you can get them, and sometimes you have to create them in that way. It's tough to pass otherwise. So we're already seeing these guys in this mid part of the top 10. I mean, you can see Lawson Peel gets to the inside of Miranda. It looks like he's currently faster, but where is he going to go? How is he going to get by? Miranda just slides at the racetrack, gets the run off.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely a single groove track, and I think
Miranda lets it go.
Yeah, let Peel go there. And that's about the only time you're going to see passes on this track. Legitimately, if the drivers are not already side by side, you're going to see a driver try to set up a pass coming out of turn 4 and try to get alongside the drivers into turn 1. At that time, it's going to be the choice of the driver in the outside lane to either let him go or try to race it out. And more often than not, especially less experienced drivers, might try to race it out and unfortunately put themselves in the wall, and then the car the inside kind of takes the spot anyway.
Mario's really struggling. This is not something we've seen out of car 99 really at all yet, especially with the way we opened our coverage here at the MPI Cup Series back at Circuit of the Americas when he dominated Emerson. This is really out of character for what we've seen of Mario Miranda, but showing that maybe he's not the perfect driver we all thought he was there for a little while. He is definitely struggling right now, and here we go. Joe Sanchez to the inside, gonna set him up for turn 1. Miranda gonna let him go. Maybe not. Oh, tight, very tight.
That's exactly what I was talking about. The outside driver wants to race that inside driver, but if he doesn't, right there, back off at the center 1 and 2, he's probably going to end up in the wall out of turn 2. And so right there, that was Sanchez taking advantage of a limping Miranda. And right, it's a good thing he has wins on the season, but I think him plowing the wall down lap 1 has certainly hurt him here. How about this battle for second?
This is for third. Lawson Peel goes on by Curtis Kelly. Curtis let him go there into 3. Miranda now on the nose, potentially Brandon Banks. And deeper in the field, Garrett Brown and Parker Bland starting to draw close to each other. This is for 13th. Remember, stage points are paid out to the top 10. Dakota Curtis currently 2.5 seconds back of 10th place as he's let Richard Swavely move on by. And Brown is going to have a look at Bland. Do you think Brown can maybe run to the top 10 from here? It's going to be at least about a 5-second gain he's going to have to make. Maybe 4. He's currently behind the 01. He's got about 20 laps to do it.
Is there any, Johnny Benson power he can kind of find in that scheme to kind of push his way forward?
Is that a Benson throwback? I called it out as a Mark Martin throwback earlier.
I think it is because of
yeah, I think you're right.
The sides.
You're right. Definitely. Yeah, the Cummins on the quarter panel should have told me that is definitely a number 10 throwback. I would dare say Johnny Benson is, yeah. Yep, you're correct.
I wonder if there's any power vested in that scheme then to get his way forward right now. He is hounding Parker Bland, but you're seeing here, it is kind of that single lane track, and you got to have a significant advantage over the car in front of you, or have a mistake happen.
Here we go. Car 01 starting to crack under pressure. And I think to win tonight, if we don't have a late race restart, is Bland in the wall. Bland big time in the fence right there, and there goes Garrett Brown on by, but maybe not just yet. As, oh, Bland blinks out. Don't tell me he alt F4'd too. I think he did.
I can't confirm that one. I don't know if maybe that's a lag out either. We're looking forward. This is Sanchez ahead of Curtis. Kelly's been dropping back a little bit here, and
Parker's back.
Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't alt F4. I'll give him that, but blinked out for about an entire lap here. That's a long time at Darlington. Comes on back. He's still on 14th now. Kip Easley working on Wyatt Brackett. I think Wyatt Brackett actually just worked on by Kip Easley. Now, Wyatt going to have a chance to go after Isaac Mock, who's dropped down to 18th. Warren Kyle Keith starting to work his way through the field in 17th. And there's, I think, a lot of stock in watching these guys move around to the bottom of the field, right, Emerson, at least in the midfield, because we've seen time and time again at places like Darlington, well, mostly at Darlington, a driver will start deep in the field, a driver will use the entire race to learn the car, learn the track, learn how things are changing, and set themselves up for a win. They may not place entirely well in the stages, but they use this time to get to the end of the race to actually set themselves up. It happens at Darlington more than I think anywhere else.
Absolutely. This is a tough track, a new car. Why not use the beginning stages to learn? He started 33rd, Wyatt Brackett did. He's already up to 18. He's looking to continue on. This is Warren Kyle Keefe as he looks forward. He also started 31st. He's been on that same track. So both of these guys kind of moving forward one by one, kind of picking off the guys who have mistakes or end up just wearing out their stuff. A big moment up ahead.
Oh, 45 car, Fulham loose out of 4. Might have pounded the wall, actually, as he checks up big time in front of Wyatt Brackett. Wyatt in the 18th spot will have a chance now at Fulham for 17th. As Austin, Riddy, and Mari Miranda go after it. 99 and 96 side by side. Arguably the two best drivers in the series so far this season. Battling here for 8th, and Miranda continuing to slide.
I wonder how badly damaged that right front is. It doesn't look too healthy here from the onboard, the entire front end, really. Is that something he's going to be able to repair, maybe with an extended pit stop on the stage, or is that something he's going to just try to live with? Bobble.
Yeah, 99 is struggling. Oh, as the 14 of Shoemaker gets the wall in front of him. Yeah, Mario is just not vibing with this car at this track, it seems. And, in Joey Logano's press conference a little while earlier, he was asked about teams that have just found something with this car, and certainly Trackhouse and Hendrick have done so in the NASCAR Cup Series. I'd argue that until today, Miranda has done that with this car, but it seems like it's just not working well with him at Darlington. Maybe this is his Achilles heel, and what's important to think about, Emerson, is where this falls in the schedule later on this season. It's part of round 1. If he has problems in round 1 later this season, it could lead to his elimination. With the way he's been winning, I don't know if that's going to happen, but it could.
Absolutely. That was actually going to be something I mentioned earlier, and I think we moved on, is that this race is the opener of the playoffs, and one of Parker Bland. I apologize. So we're looking at Wyatt Brackett, but Parker Bland just pounded the wall down. But yeah, Darlington as the opener of the playoffs, that really could, even if it doesn't eliminate you, that could make or break the momentum for the rest of the playoffs, or your cautions on the speedway.
A yellow early, and I think it's Charles Feltz in trouble. Chris Progar involved at the bottom of turns 1 and 2, and that is tough for the Bobby Hamilton throwback. Car 17 on a lot of trouble. Michelle, it looks like, is torn up. I see Holdcroft is off the pace. A few cars have started to go a lap down, those being Holdcroft, Progar, Muscarella, and Michelle. And oddly enough, this might save Muscarella from further damage and further laps lost in this run, but it's, man, Progar's got a lot of damage.
Yeah, a bunch of these guys, I wouldn't put it past that these guys are probably racing hard for the lucky dog.
That's a big possibility. This looks to be the incident into turn 1. Michelle and Progar. And, Chris just runs deep into the corner, pops the wall, and Daniel with nowhere to go. And, Feltz comes in, Sturgeon, Winters. They had been lapped to around the... Where are they running, actually? They are running tail end of the field. Winters... So they must have lost their lap. Yeah, there's Joe. They lost their lap after the crash. They may get that back. In fact, Michel has been given his lap back ahead of the pace car. So just trying to find...
Morales, lucky dog.
You might be right by that, actually. You might be right. You can see Travis Stevens and Sean Kalis ahead. They are well within the top 30. So that gives you some context as to where this happened. Right about the 30th, 31st position. And yeah, Progrard just gets in deep. Michel nowhere to go. And Feltz clobbers the back end of Michel. My goodness.
That's tough because you're still carrying a lot of speed at that point of the corner. You're not on the brakes into turn one, even on older tires. Maybe you're tapping it a little bit, but you're not fully on it, so you're not able to slow down and miss a wreck coming across the track like that. We can ride on board with Feltz so you can kind of see what I mean down into turn one.
For a long time, you never needed any kind of brake down here. It was just a lift and the car would hold. Now you might need brake in traffic, and that time, I don't think he ever hit the brakes. And I mean, your normal racing line, you're not using the brakes, but when cars start stacking up, maybe a good idea to go ahead and use them. Feltz doesn't, and definitely some big damage there. Steven Stempian will stay out, and a lot of drivers opting for track position with a short run to the end of stage one. And I think trying to save tires, Emerson. They've got 5 sets of change tires in the pits, but opting not to use them here in stage one. I can't say that's a bad call. That said, maybe if I was down around 20th, I would have tried something here. Go ahead and get tires, run through this field. I don't know. Sean Kalis does come in. He takes service. Brad Fulham as well. Logan Sturgeon. Mario Miranda is, I think, the biggest notable taker.
And I was going to say, if he got damage, and I mean, Miranda was about to fall out of stage one. He was at the back end of the top 10, and he was struggling. Might as well, sacrifice those stage points, get the car repaired, and give yourself maybe a chance to fight back in
He's coming back
stage
in.
2. And is he coming back in? That's a lot of damage then. He did pound down the wall. Oh, don't speed. That cone is early.
He may have also taken only optional. That first stop, come back in now for tires and fuel, potentially. So if he's in the pit lane, the pace car and Stempian are into 3. This is going to be close.
It depends, if he's got multiple minutes of optional, any bit helps. If this is just a tire stop, he should be fine.
Of course, we can't see if he actually puts tires on, but you can see the pacing field in the background. He should be able to get out in time, but there's a car behind him that's going to be close. I think that's... actually, I'm not sure who that is in the pit lane.
Looks like it's 4 tires for Miranda.
That is Holdcroft coming up behind him. Miranda will pull away. They both get out Muscarella as well. So good calls by each of them to get on and off the pit lane quickly. And yeah, I think that was all damage the first time for Mario. Only tires that second time. Not a bad call, actually.
I have never thought about doing that. That makes sense at a track that has multiple pace laps. You can't really do it at a track that has 4 or less pace laps. But a track with 5 like Darlington, that's not a bad idea at all.
It really isn't. And I think for a driver, it holds you to not wasting too much time on that second pit, right? You come in, get as much as you can in that first go without going a lap down, then just come back in and know you're only going for tires and fuel the second time. That way you're not caught halfway around the racetrack when the leaders start the race. That's really not a bad call at all from Mario. I like that. I might have to do that myself in NIS if I ever go race again. So anyways, the field works into turn number 3. 37 will be complete at the drop of the green flag to get this race back underway, so less than 10 laps to the end of stage 1. And Stempian in control of the field. He'll work us down to the restart zone. It happens early here at Darlington. In fact, they're already on the throttle. Green flag back out. Up out of turn 2, the field mostly single file already. Oh, a few cars jumbling in the back end. We keep racing, but oh man, there's 2, 3, 4 wide back there, but we keep after it.
All that goes on. Lawson Peel had a good opportunity to maybe send it down to turn 3. He's since backed off, and Stempian's opened up his advantage again.
Stempian leading by about 2/3 of a second to Lawson Peel and Ross Harlow. Joe Sanchez in 4th, and bobbles there out of 2nd and 3rd that time as, Curtis Kelly opens the door to Brandon Banks to the outside. Banks says, don't mind if I do, rolls around, pops the wall big time, almost contact between them. they keep rolling.
Yeah, Kelly bobbled out of 2, and Banks wanted to take advantage of it. Maybe got a little too hot into turn 3. This is looking on here.
Austin Reedy's on board, right behind Kelly and Banks. Nearly, that battle nearly put Banks in the lap of Reedy, but not able to take advantage was car 96. Garrett Brown, though, taking advantage of car 14 as more cars dive down the backstretch, trying to dive to safety as things happen down the back straight. Garrett Brown takes that spot. That's good for 8th. Swavely, the last car in the stage points, currently in 10th, but he wants to change that and go on by Shoemaker potentially. Pokes his nose to the inside, and Shoemaker will let him have the bottom at the very least. Raises contact, and yeah, Shoemaker, I think, will have to give that one up.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's 11th.
Pop the wall. How about it? It's the 42 Warren Kyle Keefe. Got a little help there when Dakota Curtis bobbled out of 2. Got a spot there as well, but could Warren Keefe get some stage points here after starting 31st? How that would be such a power move.
He's got plenty of time back to Dakota Curtis to start focusing here on Austin Shoemaker. One of those good times a spotter would tell a driver to keep his eyes up. Always what you want to hear as a driver. No pressure at the back end. Just keep your eyes up. Keep focusing on what's ahead. Really good opportunity for Warren here. As you can see, Justin Erb go down to the inside of Dakota Curtis, looking to take 12th away, and he will do so. Now Shoemaker gets to think about, how much does he want this one stage point? How much does he want to fight for it? As you see Reedy working on Kelly. This is for 6th.
Yeah, Kelly has not been agreeing with his car. He's been most of the time on edge, just trying to hold on to it. Reedy's looking to take advantage here out of 2, where Kelly's been really struggling.
Good move to the inside there for Austin. He shoots on down to the bottom and gets on by car 29 with ease. Warren Kyle Keith trying to set up car 14. He's only got a couple more laps to do so. In fact, 1 lap to go in stage 1.
It's going to get tight here. Does Schumacher make a mistake? Or Shoemaker, my apologies, make a mistake? Or is Keith able to set it up? Stempian, by the way, he's only got a quarter second up on Lost Wheel, only 2/10 now. Nothing, nothing relaxing for any means.
Coming to the end of stage 1, Steven Stempian going to lead us to the green and white checkered flag. The top 10 will go by, then we'll get yellow. And Shoemaker will hang on over Warren Kyle Keith, but only barely at the end of the stage. I'm sorry. That was 2 to go. Now we have 1 to go on the stage. I counted laps a little bit wrong. Regardless, Stempian going to hang on to this, I think, over Peel. Unless Peel pulls a Logano here out of the corner, I don't think he's going to do anything. Now we'll come to the end of stage 1. Shoemaker does have trouble from Warren Kyle Keith, but is it enough? I don't think so.
So Stempian takes the stage, and that did kind of catch us off guard, because most weeks
man.
Oh, wow! 3 wide across the line.
Still no yellow. There we go.
It's a different race controller tonight than what we're used to most weeks, so that also kind of changed the end of the stage process.
Stempian still takes stage 1 regardless. It really doesn't change anything. Aside from exactly when the yellow came out. In fact, the top 10 held their order. Stempian, Peel, Harlow, Sanchez, Banks, Reedy, Kelly, Brown, Swavely, Shoemaker over Warren Kyle Keith. And of course, it's 10 points to win the stage, 9 to go second, and so on and so forth, down to 1 for 10th spot in the stage. We're going to go PitStop TV side by side as we get ready for pit stops and then your stage 1 winner interview. Stick with us here at PitStop TV through this quick break.
Hi guys, today me and Moose welcome to my extremely formal presentation of my 2 latest creations, the MPI Sync Chassis and the MPI Foldable Stand. When I created the MPI chassis, I wanted to have everything included, what it means. So in the MPI chassis, I wanted to have everything you need besides the electronics. So it has the keyboard tray, mouth tray, adjustability, TV stand, computer stand, super stiff pedal assembly, a seat that if you don't have a lot of space, you can fold it. If you have limited space, I solved your problem. The MPI wheel stand, you can use any component you want on it, and at night, fold in half, very limited space, and you can put it away. You can use your own chair, your own TV, problem solved.
Fuller,
Yeah,
needed F-150 for Smith build.
got it.
Yesterday.
I know.
Don't forget my BMW.
Gotcha. Check this out. All the major online automotive sites in one place. BMW, done. F-150, done.
How's he do it?
I can search nationwide. Even those classified sites. Auto temp cars, one search. That's how I do it.
Welcome back to the virtual Darlington Raceway as we resume coverage then of the MPI Cup Series Throwback 200 takers under the pit lane. There were plenty of them, but not the entire field, Emerson. Some drivers staying out as, well, you can't change who's up front, at least of the race off the pit lane. Stempian still leads that race off the pits, but 3 drivers stay out and do not take service, those being Sturgeon, Mahar, and Miranda. Let's go ahead and dial up our Stage 1 winner, Steven Stempian, and I'm sure he's got a lot to talk about after that first stage. Emerson, here is driver of the 81.
And Steven Stempian, he had a good little stage there. He got himself to the lead early and was kind of set sail from there. Steven, 43 laps led there. Talk about that stage. How was the clean air?
Felt amazing. Don't want to get behind lap traffic again because that kind of slowed me up a little bit. But I got good pace. I love Darlington. Run really good here. Always have. So feeling good about tonight. Just got to stay out of trouble.
So the one opportunity you did have to, I guess, make a pass for position was Muscarella having his trouble early. Is there anything going through your mind as you try to make the passes on these cars up ahead of you who have stayed out?
I take it easy because obviously we've seen off turn 2, guys are having trouble. So hopefully just avoid them if they get into each other. Stay patient. We got another 45 laps until the next stage. So just take it easy and try to get back in the lead.
And then the paint scheme you've thrown on today, this Budweiser throwback. What led you to make this decision?
I ran this in another league about a year ago here at Darlington. Got a win, so I wanted to good luck charm, bring it back. So
why not? Stage 1 winner Steven Stempian. He starts outside row number 2. 4th position for driver number 81. Will he get back to the front? We'll have to see. Best luck to you, driver, and hopefully we'll talk to you a little later on.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of the race.
Stempian gets back to it with his team as we get ready for racing once again from the Darlington Raceway. Weather, we talked about it earlier, it's starting to cool off now. It heated up for that first stage, starting to drop back down. The track is still at 80 degrees though, Emerson. It's no cool 80 degrees either. It's going to be hard on these tires for the second stage, but not as bad as we initially thought when we saw the sunlight come back out for qualifying. Logan Sturgeon, P1 for this restart. Joseph Mahar in that second spot. Mario Miranda third. Stage winner Steven Stempian in 4th. Green flag back out for stage 2. Stempian not able to do anything this first lap, stays in behind Miranda. Those 3 guys, they pitted at that first caution, Emerson. I now understand what they were trying to do as Mahar looks low to the inside of Sturgeon, and Mahar will take the lead by forcing Sturgeon in the fence.
I was about to say, I think those drivers not only, they got to track position by making that strategy decision, but they were also
no! Lawson peeled out to the inside.
4 cars down the back straightaway.
Big crash in the backstretch. Shoemaker involved. No yellow yet, but that's certainly, I would say, deserving of one. There it is. Yellow flag is out on the backstretch at Darlington as that one involves, most notably, Lawson Peel as well as Logan Sturgeon. The Ernie Irvin throwback was playing Candy Crush on the outside of the wall. And definitely in trouble was car 26. Go back to kind of where all of his troubles started. A turn 4 battling here with Joseph Mahar. Mahar gets a great exit out of 4. You see him kind of work up the racetrack, then work back down, get this run out of the corner. Drops down to the inside. Logan gives him room, and Mahar just straight lines into the corner, pushes him up ever so slightly. And it's on from there. Logan in the fence. He comes down just a little bit out of the corner to punch in the wall and grabs the 53. And Joe Sanchez had his own issue.
Sanchez, he almost pipped the inside of the wall. He actually got out of that relatively easily. And unfortunately, I think the only one, I mean, Sturgeon obviously got the damage. But I guess the one driver who got the worst end of that was Lawson Peel.
It's right on board for Joe Sanchez in all of this. He was following car 53 of Lawson Peel. Here's Joe's perspective. See Sturgeon slow on the top side, punches the wall here. He got loose on his own, goes down and does pop the inside wall, but then keeps going. So, you know what? All things considered, I think he'll take that.
I think that's a little bit of a traumatization of his damage on iRacing's end. I don't think it's going to be that bad or should affect them that much, but we shall see, you know, when we get back to the green flag racing.
Watching these guys work around here under caution now. Mahar, your leader. Miranda second. Stempian third is one car. Gets the lucky dog. That looks to be Dustin Reeves potentially. And yes, it is. Yep. I like that car. Really do like that one. Not much of a throwback, but I like it there for Dustin as he works around the speedway onto the backstretch now behind Chris Progar, who I think definitely needs some help for car 17. We might dial him up later. I think that'll be a good conversation if he's able to keep that car in the right direction. For now, though, Emerson, I do want to learn the origins of this car for Joseph Mahar. He happens to be in the lead. I mentioned we might dial him up. Let's see if we can find him in Discord. I do see him. He's down there with the Podium Esports gang. Let's go ahead and bring in driver of the 19 Toyota Camry. And Joseph, we were talking about this this paint scheme for you a little bit earlier. It seems like your teammates are doing throwbacks. This might be a throwback. We don't know. What's up with the paint?
So this is a throwback to the very first paint that Autotempest.com had when they came into the Cup Series here with us. It's actually the first paint that Dakota ran with them on it. So it is a throwback in that sense, throwing it back to the very first time they joined us here, and yeah, I think it's a pretty cool looking paint.
I definitely do like it, and we were theorizing as what it could have been. Didn't quite find that option, but I like it. How's the car feeling out there? Obviously, it pitted towards the end of stage one, stayed out at stage one, at least the break, and are now sitting in a pretty good spot. Went right on by Logan Sturgeon there.
Yeah, not ideal here on 10-lap older tires, but I spun out of two. I don't know if y'all caught that. I spun out of two, just got loose, didn't hit anything. Luckily, I was able to keep it on the lead lap, and this is kind of my only chance to really get my track position back. Sorry, Logan, if I got you a little bit in turn one. I thought maybe I was down a little bit further. I didn't want to hit the apron and run into the same issue. So, I mean, I'm super sorry if I doored you going in one. That was not intentional. Just trying to survive out here.
So if we get more yellows, do you think you hang on to this track position even as tires wear out?
I don't think I'm going to win the stage, but if I can finish top 10, top 15, I'll count that as a win.
There you go. Joseph Mahar just looking to gain some spots here. He's been as low as 39th. He's currently in first place. Joseph, thanks for your time. We'll get you back down there with your teammates as he gears up for this restart of the Auto Tempest Toyota Camry alongside the Burnt Rubber Media Toyota Camry of Mario Moreno on that front row. Stempian third, Harlow fourth, Sturgeon still top five, Swavely in sixth. As we come down to the restart, Mahar Miranda, your front row. Green flag will fly in the restart zone. We're off and away. Now to turn 3, one car way down to the inside of turn number 2. But nice and orderly through most of the field as they work through 3 and 4. Now Emerson, one lap will go complete after the restart. Mahar still leading.
Yeah, Mahar able to kind of keep that advantage up at the front of the field. He is under attack from Mario Miranda. And it's Ross Harlow who has found his way by V81 of Steven Stempian.
Oh! No, Joseph Hart! We've got oil on the track, boys! What's going on?
This is going to be back into the middle. In fact, we're going to have a big one.
Cars all over the racetrack. No one camera really worked best for it, but you see the entire field scatter. 3 or 4 cars all spun at the same time. The track temp didn't crazily change or anything. It looked like there was oil on the track. I don't know any other way to describe it.
Did the sim clean the track up properly after that last incident?
I don't know. Let's go back and see if we can get a look at it here. I've never seen anything quite like it.
Genuinely, what I think happened, I think it was just these drivers haven't ran that much on these tires, and there's already been a lot of heat cycles on them.
Yeah, we did just heat cycle them for everybody now.
Yeah.
Mahar was the first one to get loose, just whips it out of turn 2. Oh, and he noses in hard. Oh my goodness, what a hit. Harlow goes down there, keeps it off the wall, then comes back up in front of traffic. What a job by just about everybody, though, to miss every, well, I say every spinning car, the 2 or 3 cars that did spin right there. I mean, that could have been so much worse.
In my mind, I saw about a 10-car, 15-car pileup happening right there when Mahar came back across the track.
Mahar noses in hard. I do want to see kind of how this works out for Ross Harlow. This could have been so much worse than the 5. Look at that. Kisses the wall, gets back rolling, comes back in front of a few cars. Oh, you know who did nail the 19, though, was Brandon Banks. That car's got a lot of damage on the nose.
It's just chaos. There was no real right place to be unless you were ahead of it, but even then the leader spun out. So you can ride on board
inside here of Sturgeon. He's going on by for what, around the 9th position or so. Yeah, he gets loose out of the corner, then goes down to the center of the track and just chose wrong. And oh my goodness, the hit that he gave to Sturgeon through all of that by proxy. Wow.
I'm sure he's not expecting Mahar to ricochet that far across the track, so that's probably why he decided to go right. But yeah.
Watch this from the overhead. He about had the pass made. He did have the pass made on Sturgeon, and then out of the corner. Oh, and Richard Swavely had a problem out of the corner. Just zigged when he should have zagged. And that's a big hit for both of those drivers. Sturgeon now in the pit lane. He might be done. Banks as well. I do want to see what happened now to Swavely. I hadn't noticed that for car 32 just yet. The sun is starting to get to us, I think, out of the corners. Even us up here with the cameras, it can be a little bit blinding and skew things. Swavely was in 5th. What in the world happened? He just gets loose, just like the rest of them. Noses into the wall there. But certainly not as bad as other drivers around him. My goodness.
Wild. And that all happened towards the front of the field. If anything, people are expecting that to be, I guess, more safer when it comes to that. But when you see, the leader and 3rd place spin, what does that make to you when you're approaching that wreck? You're along for the ride.
Garrett Brown got loose, chased it down to the bottom side of the racetrack, and made the right choice. Zigzags, gets on by, and he'll be 3rd after that incident. And, wow, I'm astonished as what we've just seen for this yellow. He may not actually hold 3rd, or some other drivers are nosing, but no, he will hold 3rd, it looks like, as we will gear up for a restart. Miranda leading. This is caution number 4. That's including our stage yellow, Emerson. The race got moving along nicely in stage 1. Now we might be into where cautions breed cautions.
And this is kind of typical for how it works in Darlington in real life, at least in past seasons. The first stage kind of goes green, and we get to that second stage right around sunset, and as night creeps up, and that's when business starts to pick up. The track changes, the intensity comes up. People have learned the track, so they feel more confident in their cars. And along with that, nobody's disconnected from the server just yet as a result of that incident, but certainly some hurt race cars.
You see the weather the air temp hasn't really dropped, but the track temp is starting to as the sun starts to go down out behind turn number 4. The pace car will dive down to the safety of pit lane. Miranda in control on the outside, chose that lane. And now Stempian will try and do something from the bottom. Miranda gets the jump, launches off and away. Stempian second, Harlow third. It's a clean restart for now, but turn 2, the trouble spot for these guys. Out of the corner, I don't see issues yet. Oh, there we go, Garrett Brown to the problem. Sliding on the bottom side of the racetrack. There was one more with him. I think that was Parker Bland that was sideways, but he caught it.
What a catch that happened there. And then, at the same time, it's been a minute since these drivers have ran 3 and 4 at full speed. Here's Stempian on Miranda, the battle for the lead.
Stempian rolling up to Mario, and he will go right on by on the inside, and Mario knows that Stempian's just faster right now. He's got better tires and lets him go properly into turn 3. Smart move there from Mario Miranda not to fight that one.
Be intriguing to see how Miranda fares now. Is that car 100% healed? Is there still some damage to be repaired on that? Or, I mean, is he comfortable to run right there in second and his car's not going to be affected? How about Justin Erb right there in the 6th position? Cody Kinsey, Wyatt Brackett, all these names up here. Warren Kyle Keefe.
A lot of names now into the top 10 with a few of the other names dropping out. Saw a backfire there quickly out of car 24. You don't see that as much on iRacing as you do with the real cars. The NASCAR Cup Series. Like to see that into turn 3 as here we go. Warren Kyle Keith drops to the inside of Justin Erb. Will take that spot away as Stempian goes purple that lap. And now Garrett Brown, after his slide a few moments ago, will be able to work on car 24 once again. Chris Shoemaker now in the top 10. Kip Easley. Phil Schoonover one spot. Oh my goodness, hard of the wall is Erb. Car 24 knocks the wall down but gets back after it. Meanwhile, Fulham and Bland do battle. This is back here for 13th. And this is where we might see somebody out of this group. Emerson, we talked about earlier, drivers that start off towards the rear but work their way up. We could see one of these guys work their way up into the top 5 at some point. I would honestly look at Ray Rogers as one of those drivers that could do so.
And he's been steadily improving in this series from when we've taken over. I kind of seen him kind of inch forward on the result sheet. I wouldn't put it past him to even notch out at least top 10 by the end of stage 2 potentially.
Currently 14th, chasing Parker Bland, and then Justin Hendry, and a yellow flag does fly. Trouble in the rear for Banks and Shoemaker, maybe? Maybe not, actually. The last car on the lead lap currently is Dustin Reeves. I suppose it's time to do some investigative work. It is going to be Shoemaker out of turn 2. Or at least one incident for this yellow is going to be Shoemaker out of turn 2. There might be more. He's got a big hit coming. Watch out of turn 2. Car gets loose. Oh, the engine let go. Oh, wow. That's something we hadn't really considered yet. Oh, and there's Holdcroft loose behind him. That's something we hadn't really considered yet. Is when the engines let go in these cars, it's not the same as it's not the same gearbox that can keep rolling as the old car. It locks up, and this is a vicious, vicious spin.
This is a car that's been through the ringer. A few incidents already. The engine not healthy, and
it was already loose. I think the power. You know what? I think the engine let go in the middle of the corner. The power went away, and what actually happened is it gave him lift-off oversteer. Let's watch one more time and try and theorize here. I really think it just cuts power before you actually hear and see the engine let go through the crunch of the smoke. When it lifts off here, right there, the car comes around and then it lets go. I think when the motor cuts power, it actually gives him lift-off oversteer. How about that for being unlucky?
He had a rough day. He was already running towards the tail end of the lead lap. Again, that car has been severely damaged on both sides. I think he was more or less maybe even waiting for it to kind of end its misery.
And right in front of us, he comes and says hello to our virtual cameraman, but not for any of the right reasons. Tell you what, that's an A+ for camera placement there by Whiplash Simcams.
Find that target off the turn 2, off of turn 2 on that inside wall, and yeah, that's what you can get, huh?
Big thanks to our partners here with the MPI Cup Series. Of course, Max Pappas Innovations, MPI, Auto Tempest, SimMax, all doing so much for this series. And, you know, they're able to throw back to an older logo here, with the race logo going back to, you know, I'm assuming an older series logo, or at least an older iteration of what could have been. And that's definitely a throwback logo there for sure. And it's because of sponsors and partners like the MPI, well, like MPI, like Max Pappas Innovations, that leagues are able to do this kind of thing and throw back to older iterations of themselves. You don't see that every day. So for MPI to step up and be that big of a partner with this series is really huge, and I think really speaks to exactly how much Max Pappas Innovations actually does for this MPI Cup Series. A big thank you to our partners as well, Tucson Sound Art, Permanent the Crime and Main Whiplash Media, and BAM Racing Videos. It seems like pace car lights are still on, Emerson. And you can see the caution light right there actually in turn 3 still flashing.
It's an interesting shade for a caution light. I'm also thinking that race logo is a throwback to the next Cup Series logo.
Yeah, definitely. That's where that's from. Yeah, that's definitely a throwback logo for sure. Should get the 1 to green this time by. Watch Barney the Flagman. Now, unfortunately, we don't see him actually go down and lean over and give the 1 to these guys, but yeah, you see the green lights flash at the top left. That means we are at 1 to green. Pace car lights will extinguish. The track safety lights will extinguish. The field will be signaled to double up and get ready to go back green flag racing. Lap 72 of 147. Emerson, we're inside of 20 to go to the end of stage 1. Who wins it? Or stage 2, rather. Who wins it?
You know, it's hard to bet against Stampian. Miranda is going to throw a factor into it in terms of does he keep up with Stampian, or, you know, how willing is he going to be to let others by on fresher tires? It'll be intriguing. And how about Wyatt Brackett? She's been on a steady climb to the field. I guess I'd have to go if Stampian. If not, then the 10 car.
So we'll get ready to get this race restarted. Your top 5 are Stempy and Miranda, Harlow, Brackett, and Kinsey in the 5th position. Then Warren Kyle Keith in the top 6. You got Garrett Brown, Chris Shoemaker with no hood on that car. And then Kip Easley and Bill Schoonover complete your top 10 as we get the green flag once again. And the throwback 200, green flag is out at Darlington. Slow cars galore in the center of 1 and 2. Parker Bland gets backed up by Schoonover, it looks like, but they keep racing.
Clean back straightaway. First time in a while. Miranda now kind of backing up the rest of the top 5 here. Miranda's kind of trying to hold on to what he's got right now.
You see a bunch of the field work on by. Kinsey in a good spot. Some big battles back here. Lawson Peel, Sean Kalis, Dakota Curtis, all moving around. Ross Harlow in big trouble. Car 5. He's stuck in the fence. Oh, and somebody hits him that was Justin Erb. You don't see this every day, folks. A car is stuck in the fence. Ross Harlow in big, big trouble out of turn number 2. Calamity Corner, as EW would say. Let's see what happened.
Brandon Banks is already disconnected from the session in this one.
Watch the red and white number 5 Chevrolet of Ross Harlow. Loose out of the corner, overcorrects it. Oh my goodness, Cody Kinsey. Wow. Have you ever?
No, I've never.
You know what? I don't think I've seen it quite like this, but sadly, I have seen incidents eerily similar But not at Darlington, of all places. Usually it's at a place like a concrete wall, or there's an opening like that. But let's see what happens here from the onboard of Kinsey. Harlow's just going to get loose behind Bracken, and oh my goodness, just get slapped in the face. I wonder where that car is idling. Wait and see if maybe he put the clutch in to find out. It's idling rough, I know that, or at least coasting rough. He doesn't put the clutch in on the backstretch to find out, but I mean, that's so heartbreaking as a driver to not actually visually make contact. We're going to have a bit of a school on netcode here, Emerson. The way this car stops and lodges in the wall, iRacing thinks it's going to come back at Cody Kinsey, but it doesn't actually, because he gets stuck in the fence, so he still gets hit with the contact, even though the car doesn't visually make contact with him.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big space, but that's because of the high speed of the impact that the 5 had into the wall. If these cars didn't get stuck in the wall, he was gonna fly back and hit them. But nonetheless, that's tough. He kind of got double whammied by iRacing.
And I'll take my words back. Kinsey's motor is destroyed. It's done. You can see the faint smoke out of the rear end there.
Goodness, somebody nearly hit him when they went to the inside of him down there.
Who do you reckon that was? I noticed that a few times, but I wasn't entirely sure of who that was that went by. Let's watch from the blimp one more time. See Warren Kyle Keith in tow. We can slow this down and find out who nearly clobbers car 93 here. Harlow smacks the wall, gets stuck. There goes Kinsey to the inside wall. Contact. And to the inside of him, Brown was low, but then to the inside of him goes Ray Rogers. Wow.
Daring line. But right there on that slow-mo, you really saw just how much of a gap there was physically. But unfortunately, the sim did not grant him that gap.
Here's Ray Rogers down the front stretch, thinking his race will continue on normally, and then something happens at a turn number 2. Now, we'll say Brackett had a good catch. He stays third place after all of this. Here comes Rogers out of the second corner. He's sitting his car in the fence. He jerks the car left to avoid, and wow.
What a job.
Honestly, yeah.
That dart to the bottom was definitely to avoid the 5 car, and he was hoping that there wasn't going to be any collateral down there with the 93.
So, caution flag is out. And, man, a big incident there. I believe we're actually getting the 1 to green signal. Here's a look at the very scenic virtual Darlington Raceway at iRacing.com. And, you know, I know iRacing prioritizes the stuff between the walls, Emerson, but this is a fantastic shot.
Sure, and is that minnow lake that always gets talked about?
It is, out
like
to the left
four?
side, yes. Out behind turn 4, the reason that turns 3 and 4 are actually more narrow, a tighter radius here at Darlington than 1 and 2. They were going to build it symmetrical each end, and then, well, there was a minnow pond back there. They didn't want to disturb it, and I believe the owner didn't want to disturb that land. And, well, the minnow pond stayed. Turns 3 and 4 were tightened up, and we have the beautiful Darlington Raceway that we have now, and I wouldn't change it for any amount of money. Obviously, I'm not in control of the track. Hopefully it never does change, but I don't think anybody would change this place. It's such a fantastic racetrack. As we wait on the green flag one more time, Barney holding it high and stout. Green flag is out on lap 79 and 147. Stage 2 ends in about 10 laps. The field coming at you out of turn 2. Parker Bland way up high. Kalis as well. 1 car in the wall. James Kunkel hard in the inside fence. The field keeps rolling through 3 and 4. 1 lap will go complete after the restart, and we will have 11 laps to go in stage number 2.
That one hurts for Kunkel. He started last. He was up inside the top 20. Fortunately, he's going to pull it down to pit lane. He'll lose at least 1 lap and maybe more.
Oh, problems.
Oh, no.
Austin Reedy, Isaac Mock. And we stay green for now. Will we stay green, though? It looks like it. We didn't quite see what happened. Up ahead, your race leader, still Steven Stempien. Second, Mario Miranda. Third, Wyatt Brackett, with Warren Kyle Keith closing. Warren Keith, not to jinx him, I'm going to get the knock on wood out of the way now. Not to jinx Warren, but he has been almost non-existent since we took over coverage, Emerson. He has had such a rough time of just keeping these races together. The last couple of weeks, he's been out in the first 10 laps. In fact, I believe he posted in the Discord that he has completed less than 10 laps in the last 2 races as he works here on Wyatt Brackett, goes down to the inside, and he will try and take this third spot away down to the apron. He's going for it.
Brackett fighting hard on the outside, and why shouldn't he? They both have come from the back of the field, and doesn't get much tighter on that. I think Brackett, unfortunately, for his sake, had to probably crack the throttle a little bit in that battle. But absolutely, I know how that feels to have that many rough weeks in a row. And the biggest thing you can do is have an amazing week like that to kind of just squash everything that happened in the past down. If you can, just keep it up here, what kind of a momentum boost this would be for the rest of the season. This is Austin Reedy coming down to pit lane and somebody else.
Richard Swavely there in car 32. There were some incidents in the last couple of laps that did not bring out a yellow. Justin Erb was involved. He's got some right side damage. Joseph Mahar is still very slow with his damage. And Alex Muscarella is up here as one car is down to the inside. That's Brad Fulham along the inside wall. He continues. Oh, you can see Logan Sturgeon slide on a caution.
Yellow.
Does fly. This should not end stage 2, but it is going to be awfully close, as Reedy and Swavely were on the pit lane. It seems that Sturgeon and Fulham are our reason for this yellow.
And that entire run, there was a lot of cars collecting the wall.
Yeah.
They weren't getting Darlington stripes. They were getting some breakfast. They were getting some Darlington pancakes on those right sides.
Here's Sturgeon out of turn 2. On board of the Ernie Irvin throwback. Multiple cars down to the inside, and he's not able to save it quite the same. And I suppose the angle of his car to the racetrack is enough for iRacing to drop a yellow flag on the backstretch. Let's see what happened here to Fulham as well.
I certainly wouldn't want to be coming by.
Yeah, no. That's a big code brown. It was Mock in the Kulwicki throwback that got loose in front of Fulham. Fulham tags the wall, Mock does not. As we've got takers under yellow into the pit lane. Not most of the field, though, Emerson. Your first 18 cars are all staying out. Joe Sanchez, the first driver to come in and take service. Lawson Peel with him. Alex Muscarella as well. Isaac Mock, Brian Fulham, Joseph Mahar, Sean Kalist.
I have to wonder what the fuel math is, because certainly there's drivers up inside that top 10.
Yeah, I think Sanchez goes to the end from here.
I say certainly, unless it's going to be a heavy-duty fuel mileage race, there's certainly drivers inside the top 10 that would give up stage points for better track position in stage 3. I can't believe that.
Pretty surprised. None of those guys that are in the top 10 or even top 15, aside from maybe Curtis Kelly, can go to the end. Kelly has only been on this run, technically, we're considering this a pit run now, of 9 laps. So he's in a position where I think with another yellow or 2, which he's getting another one, he's got this yellow and at least one more. He could and should have enough fuel to go to the end. I don't recall exactly the fuel math here, but I believe it's at least 80 laps. We're at 60 to go. So, right, is that math correct? 47? Yeah, we're at about 60 to go. So the guys that are pitting here are plenty good to the end, or at least should be. But these guys that have been on the track for 40, 50 laps, I don't see how they're good.
No, there's no way. They would have to come in for another stop. And I think I felt like it was more closer to 60 or 70 laps, but nonetheless, we are within 60 to go. So that point is null.
Even so, I think even Curtis Kelly can stretch it with these cautions.
Absolutely. I guess it comes down to what kind of tires do you want if we can go stage 3 green.
Under caution here at the Darlington Raceway. Let's go ahead and dial up another driver here in the field, Emerson. We've spoken with Steven Stempien. We've spoken with Joseph Mahar. What about Super Mario sitting in second spot? Got to find driver of the 99. Mario Miranda down there with Burnt Rubber Motorsports. Emerson, here is R99.
Now let's talk about the up and down day Mario Miranda has had from up there to hitting the wall, dropping all the way down the running order, getting that damage repaired, strategizing your way up to for the start of stage 2. Mario Talk about the roller coaster of a day you've had.
Yeah, what a roller coaster, and we're just getting past halfway. Yeah, it's crazy. Lap 1, turn 1, I was very, very unhappy, man, with what happened for us. And I was driving a little bit angry after that, and, killed my tires, was dropping like a rock in water. So, got my head cool, started thinking strategy-wise, and, I'm up here P2 hanging on. Was hoping that last caution didn't come out. The tires were starting to even out, and I was chasing down Stimpy a little bit, but you know what? I think I'd be able to hold on to this stage.
Real quick, was it stage points that kept you from pitting here, or was there something else? I imagine you were kind of maybe wanting to go for the race win.
Because I didn't get stage points the first stage, I want to make sure I get some this stage.
Fair enough. Driver of the number 99, starting inside front row. Good luck, Mario, and hopefully we'll talk to you a little later on.
Thank you, guys.
70 points clear of the field, and he's still thinking about stage points. I love this guy. He's thinking about setting himself up to dominate this season. Green flag will fly. We've got 60 laps to go in the race, but only 3 to go, Emerson, in the stage. Stempian and Miranda in lockstep formation down the backstretch. One car sliding, that's Curtis. Brackett in third, then it's Warren Kyle Keith. But up front, your top 2 are nose to tail at Darlington. 2 laps to go on the stage.
Has Stempian used his stuff up, or is the night time the right time for Mario Miranda? Because he is right there, 2 laps to go.
Through 1 and 2. We could get the stage yellow this time by. Oh, Miranda bobbles out of the corner. Going to give this one up, I think. Yeah, he's about washed for the stage, but here comes Warren Kyle Keith. Goes on by Wyatt Brackett, who bobbles out of turn 2. Brown now on the outside. Do we get the stage yellow this lap or the next?
We're going to see them come across the line. There's Miranda, and then, wow, across the line, double wide. There's the yellow.
See, it's intended to be at the start of the stage end lap. And race control was 1 lap sleeping earlier, so you know what? They got it right this time. Learning moments there. And we appreciate the efforts by 24/7 Race Control stepping up here in the MPI Cup Series and handling those kinds of things. Might make our joke, but believe me, we do appreciate your efforts. Steven Stempian goes 2 for 2 in the stages this evening. Miranda second. Warren Kyle Keith in third. Brackett fourth. You saw them you saw them across the line. Yeah, still not what I wanted to say, but you saw them come across the line. There we go. At the end of the stage, from our start-finish line camera, Brown went 5th, Easley 6th, Hendry 7th, Rogers 8th, Shoemaker 9th, and Judd Danielson sneaks in a stage point in the number 85. And this is a throwback I really do like, Emerson. This Davey Allison tribute. Very cool.
Good-looking car. Again, that red streaking stripe across the side of the car, it kind of strikes fear into your competitors. The gold, very nice compliment.
Miranda draws right up to Stempian out of the pit lane. It's foreign fuel for everybody here, I would imagine, but only for those that come in. Guys just ran maybe 2 laps on tires, right? And they're going to have a chance to go to the front of the field, and I really think you have to watch out for the guys that just did that. We'll see exactly how these strategies are called, but Stempian, Miranda, and everybody else that was in the top 10, top 20 even, going to come in for tires.
Sanchez, Peel, Kalis, Progar. Those who stayed out.
Yeah, they pitted on that most recent yellow prior to the stage break, so they'll be your top 4 at the drop of the green flag in a few moments. Waiting on these guys to exit, though. You can see the mob rushing towards them, trying to get out. Stempian, oh, he burnt the tires a little bit and almost lost that race off the pit lane. Miranda will go second. Warren Kyle Keith will follow them out. What do you say we dial up driver 42? We've talked now to the other 2 guys that just went 1-2 in the stage. So what do you say we grab driver 42? He might not like us for this one. He might like us. I don't know. But the Sega Keith Motorsports number 42 cars look good tonight. Coming back from a 31st starting position for Warren. And Warren, 3rd place in that stage. We've documented your climb to the front. And I've already knocked on wood. I'll knock on wood some more. Not trying to jinx you here, but you look good tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, this Tony Stewart throwback discount tire machine, it feels good. You know, a little loose now, but we were fighting tight at the beginning of the race. Hopefully we can try to get that tightness back, because it seems like a lot of guys are starting to get loose ahead of us.
Yeah, I've been relatively privy to a lot of the challenges you guys have gone through this week preparing for this race. What exactly is the car doing? What do you need it to do differently?
Well, first off, you know, trying to fix this little bit of damage we have on the back would be great. Probably it's what's making us loose. But, you know, what I wanted to do is just, you know, cut a little bit sharper off of 4. But yeah, other than that, the car feels good everywhere else. But that damage in the back, the spotter's telling me we have is, it's probably a little detrimental to us. Probably going to be able to compete with the front guys, but I'd rather have that than the whole right side caved in.
It's definitely center punched in. You're restarting 7th here in a few moments. How do you attack this restart?
Well, attack it the way we have been. Just being cautious and careful. I know we got guys who stayed out, short pitted that stage because we had a green-white checkered. So just going to have to be cautious. We see what happened a couple laps ago with, I believe it was Snipping getting loose and Ross just sending it into the moon. So just being careful, and you know, hopefully we can get a good finish, because the last 2 races I've only completed 10 laps, so hopefully we can do that.
Yeah, that's that right there. I do want to ask real quick, what is that next to your name there on the dash?
That is that's a good luck charm of mine. We had a really fast Jurassic Park throwback last season for one of the Las Vegas races, and it's stuck since then. So it's just a good luck piece of mine. Hasn't brought good luck other than a 1 race win this season, but hopefully it can do it here at the Lady Black.
Well, best of luck to you, Warren. The car 42 was looking pretty good. The throwback to Tony Stewart. Hopefully you're climbing the fence later on.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
We'll drop him back down there with his SKM teammates. We appreciate his time. Appreciate the drivers just letting us grab them under these yellows, Emerson, and just bringing them in, and it kind of destroys some of their strategy conversations. So we really do appreciate that cooperativeness. Is that the right word? Coopetition, maybe? I don't know. We appreciate the cooperation. That's what I was going for. From each of these drivers under these yellows as we bring them in to talk to them. Joe Sanchez, your leader. Then it's Lawson Peel, Sean Kalist, and Chris Progar in the top 5 for this restart. Old tires up front, but only old by about 5 laps. Green flag is back out at Darlington. A side-by-side fight down to turn number 3. Sanchez loses that top spot to Peel. Lawson Peel, the Coda winner out front, and Herbie.
How about that? Herbie to the front. Michael Waltrip in there in second. Oh my goodness. It is a dogfight behind them though. Chris Progar and Mario Miranda duking it out for 3rd. And there is Wyatt Brackett just trying to appear from the rest of that group. Sideways is Progar!
Miranda follows, and Miranda's in the wall hard. Progar spins. We got all on the track again, and Hendry clobbers him. Clobbers the 17. Miranda with a lot of damage.
New tires, a track that's completely nighttime. Restart. Oh boy.
Track temp starting to drop. Cold tires on a cold track. Not usually the best of combinations. Go back and see what happened here. I mean, we saw what happened here. But here we go. Watch Progar up out of the corner. Just gets loose. Miranda follows. Miranda slaps the wall right there with his left side. Progar tries to save it. Stevens and Hendry got loose behind him. And Hendry just was always on a collision course with car 17 there.
So they both got loose. Progar was on older tires. Now they did its heat cycle to that caution, and Miranda was on new tires. I don't know if that's necessarily that they were. I mean, cold tires definitely didn't help. But I wonder if they clipped the seam wrong or clipped the apron. Since Miranda was behind Progar, he followed him through the exit of turn 2. He took the same line Progar did.
Let's watch and find out. Detective Arden on the case here. Miranda just arcs it down. I think with as aggressive as they're getting from up at the wall down the banking, Emerson. That might be what's getting them loose. It doesn't look like... I don't think the seams here do a whole lot. I could be wrong. It's usually the seams where, like a Kansas that we'll have next week, where you have that difference in banking that usually gets you, where it's like adding wedge to the car, taking wedge out, or whatever. I don't think it's the seams, is it? I really watch the way Miranda attacks. He's all the way up at the wall right now, and he comes back down. I think it's the way the car takes load through the corner that it's doing it.
That was a pretty aggressive exit from Miranda. Not aggressive in terms of racing this competition, aggressive in how he brought the car down the track, certainly.
Well, let's look at that caution as we're back under yellow. Progar with a lot of damage. And just as I was hopeful for his run tonight, he is all kinds of torn up in the fast at all, number 17. Austin Peele continues to lead under this yellow in the Herbie Chevrolet. Joe Sanchez, Michael Waltrip, whichever one you want to call him, in second place. Wyatt Brackett third. A good run going here for car 10. I really like what's happening here for Wyatt. And you know what? We've been dialing up drivers all night long. Let's see, is Wyatt available? Yes, he is. Down there with Fast Spin and Racing, guys like Curtis Kelly and Austin Reedy. Here is Wyatt Brackett, Emerson.
Wyatt Brackett started way deep in the field, back in the 33rd position, and it has been a steady climb through the field. A relatively clean car, Wyatt. How's it been overtaking everyone? Really?
It's just been a patience game, really. I'm just trying to stay off the wall and race the track and let everybody else do what they want to do. It's a long run game, especially with this track. Once you start racing everybody else, that's when you start messing up. So the only thing about tonight is the track, and we'll end up where we end up.
Huge piece, the huge line to think about there is racing the track more than you race others here at Darlington. You're starting inside row 2 for this restart, inside 50 laps to go. How aggressive will you be getting through for 55 into 53?
I'm just going to try and ride it out and see if they mess it up at all. I know they're on a little bit older tires, so I'm not going to try and push my luck and just get by them when I can.
Fair enough. Have you been following the 42 through the field? He kind of started back there with you, or was it more kind of an independent ride and it's just coincidentally you two worked up?
Yeah, he was in front of me for most of the first stage, and then the second stage I came out in front of him. We kind of been just back and forth now, stuck around each other. So I don't plan on trying to race him. If he wants to go, then let him go. I just want to, like I said, race the track.
Right on, driver of the number 10, restarting inside row 2 P3 for Wyatt Brackett. Best luck, driver. Hopefully we'll talk to you a little later.
Thank you.
Real close to the restart there as Brackett will get ready to nail the throttle out of turn 4. Lawson Peel ahead. That's a live look as to exactly how these restarts go for these drivers. Green flag is back in the air at Darlington. 47 laps to go. Ray Rogers side by side with Sean Kalis further back. That's for 10th spot. And here comes Daniel Michel. He was real quick earlier in the day, Emerson. Now he's just trying to get back into the top, or get into the top 10, I think, for the first time all night long, into 11th position as he passes Kalis.
Yeah, Ray Rogers, he was around that midfield as the sun was setting. Now it's full nighttime here. Intriguing to see how he fares. Daniel Michel there in the 25 as Parker plows the wall down.
Parker Bland's in a lot of trouble here. Locks it up, gets down to safety. Good avoidance, but I think there's other drivers in trouble here. Muscarella and others just trying to get on through. Chris Shoemaker in trouble, car 4, on the bottom side of the racetrack. He'll get back rolling, no caution. Kip Easley now goes behind Daniel Michel, who pops into the top 10 for the first time tonight. He's now going to work on Ray Rogers. I talked about the 25 car going purple a few times earlier tonight. Now has a chance to actually show that speed.
Remember, he started from the pit lane, or that's what we're assuming. He started from the pit lane.
Well, yeah.
And he was running those couple lap times.
Data there tells us that.
Yeah. He was running the fastest lap there in stage 1, and I was like, where is he? He's 37th. Well, now he's up inside the top 10 and still looking forward.
Ahead, there's this battle as well. 5 cars in a line. Keith through Brown. That is 3rd through 7th. And it includes Stempian, Kelly, and Brackett. Lawson Peel and Joe Sanchez leads. Your top 10 is strung out now. Aside from this little group, let's go on board with Steven Stempian here. He's going to go work to the inside of Curtis Kelly. And the fast banana 29 is going to have to give that spot up, it looks like. Stempian's still working on it.
Curtis Kelly putting up a great fight on that outside. Nearly clips him out of the corner, but Stempian will make that pass. He's cleared into that 5th position once again, looking forward at Brackett and Keith, but they have now started to open up that advantage. Let's see what Stempian is able to muster up here in the final 42 laps. This battle goes on. Ray Rogers and Dano Michel.
Michel takes the spot. Now lap 106 of 147. How about some battles further back then? Justin Erb, Judd Danielson, Charles Feltz, Dakota Curtis. Let's ride on board with Dakota Curtis for the first time in at least 100 laps. Works to the inside here of Feltz, and he's going to try and take 14th away. He'll do that. Now to the inside of Erb, 2-for-1 special into turn 3, and couldn't quite deliver.
And he tried, but it was a brilliant effort from Justin Erb to power back up around the outside, stay calm, and realize you've got the advantage, at least the preferred line, out of the corner. Erb was amazing there, holding on to that spot. Now can Dakota Curtis set him up again down the back straightaway. He is so good out of turn 2 right there.
Almost a big run down to the inside of Erb that time again. Trying to take the spot. You saw kind of the night he's had. Currently 14th, been as low as 28th. Been all around the place. Couldn't quite get the pass done there. Dustin Reeves losing positions. He's pounded the wall. He drops into 23rd now behind Brad Fulham.
See the 2 there, Travis Stevens. You haven't seen too much of him. Here's Stempian on Brackett. Intriguing to see if Brackett was going to be able to keep up with the 3 ahead of him. Stempian will make easy work of Brackett. Brackett did say he wasn't going to race drivers too much. He's racing the track. And Stempian goes on by for 4th.
On board of Stempian, and he gets loose. Here comes Brackett now. Does he take a look to the inside? No, he's going to wait in behind, it looks like. Wyatt's become a really smart racer over the course of time. Just has had a chance to gain a lot more experience. And not that he was ever not a smart racer, but he's become a lot smarter. And I think really paces himself, sits in line, knows when it's time to challenge, knows when it's not time to challenge. And I think understands as well that he's up nearly 30 spots at the start of the race. No reason to jeopardize it right now.
Absolutely not. A stat line was starting 33rd, and you know, if things were to stand, being 5th, that would be pretty stout, for sure. He looks on, and you know, there's Dakota Curtis. He actually fell behind Muscarella, and Miranda working by V85 Judd Danielson.
Miranda's got so much damage, and yet continues to put good laps together. Now into the 13th position, chasing Erb and K-List. Erb in the fence. This battle will be for 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. That goes back through Danielson as Miranda pulls down to the inside of Erb. We'll take a look and says, thank you very much. That spot's now mine. Move car 99 into position 12, but it's not over yet. Slide job in front of the 24 car. Good pass there from Mario Miranda.
That's how you counter what was happening to Dakota Curtis there. You got to just pop up right in front of him. Yeah, a slider, and then block the rest of the track for him. And, well, that will help you make that spot. He makes easy work of Sean Kalis. Miranda firing his way back up towards the top 10. And this is the battle between Erb and K-List.
Erb to the inside, took a look, now sits back behind him. Muscarella into the top 15. How about this for the car that started on pole, took an early hit to the wall, and then some, and has been just trying to work his way back through the field, Emerson, with just over 30 laps to go. It's not looking nearly as bad as it was earlier, low as 38th.
Yes, Muscarella was, it was really looking bad. He caught a caution at the right time where he got back onto the lead lap, got most of that damage repaired, and stayed in the race. And that was actually going to be kind of the point I was going to make with Miranda as well. Is the past few weeks we've seen Miranda kind of get collected and stuff, but he's kept himself steady, kept himself in the race more importantly, and still winds up with decent positions after some trouble. There's Sanchez, who lost out to Warren Keefe and Stempian, and there's Lawson Peel.
Race leader Lawson Peel working through the, I want to say that's the west end. Yeah, west end of the speedway, I guess. 1.3 seconds over now. Warren Kyle Keith, through your right, Emerson, has moved on by Joe Sanchez. Sanchez then lost the third spot to Stempian. So these two now on the climb. They're on the same strategy, pitted 7 laps after Lawson Peel. Lawson Peel pitted on the yellow prior to our stage break. And, yeah, these two guys, I don't know if it's even the better strategy, Emerson. I think these two are just better. We've seen Warren Kyle Keith start from 31st tonight, drive into the top 5 on his own merit, and is now really in our race leader little by little with slightly better tires, and he's outclassing currently our stage 1 and 2 winner. Stempian swept both stages, and car 42 is pulling away from him.
Yeah, that gap is now under a second between Keefe and Peel, and you're right, Stempian, who chased down Warren Kyle Keefe, he's not able to stick with. Keefe is really driving in hard at the entry and center of turn 3, and he's able to pull off of turn 4 as well.
He's got this figured out. 31 laps to go, 0.8 of a second. If this goes green, knock on wood, he's looking good. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
It doesn't get any worse than that as far as the commentator's curse. You see a car parked in the back stretch. Travis Stevens is the culprit of this one, and he is in some trouble.
That's going to be a clip.
We might want to find a new thing for me to do that's not knocking on wood, because apparently that doesn't work. The timing there is impeccable, as here is car 2, who's ahead of Chris Shoemaker. And the Jeff Gordon throwback here is going to take some contact, maybe. Yes, he does. Chris just drove through him.
A few times tonight, that was not a single car. It's been a little bit of help from Travis Stevens and I imagine Shoemaker. Not that it isn't an excuse, but Shoemaker probably frustrated. Want to get through the 2 as quickly as possible, and that happened.
Watch on board from car number 2, and I mean, the timing of this yellow gets no better than, hey, let's hope that we don't get a yellow for Warren Collin Keith's sake, and then, hey, yellow flag for his teammate even, who gets turned around there out of turn number 2. Shoemaker drives away, and good thing nobody hits Travis Stevens as he's broadside of the racetrack there. Now, with this yellow out, pit stops are on the way, Emerson. A couple of takers up front. I'm surprised they're pitting, to be honest with you. I thought they might try and run this out. I see a couple of takers. Everybody's in.
No way you stay out there if you have a set of tires in the pits. Absolutely not. Most of these drivers, should all be 4 tires for everybody. Probably no fuel, though, depending on how the balance of your car is.
Lawson Peel was your leader at the time of yellow. Here comes that orange 42 working up the pit lane. And no dice for Keith to get the lead. He'll restart second behind Lawson Peel. And ahead of Steven Stempian. Joe Sanchez goes 4th out the pits. Wyatt Brackett 5th. And Sanchez now might have just been saved by that yellow. He seems good on shorter runs. Not so great later in the run. So new tires on that number 55 Chevrolet Camaro just might be what the doctor ordered. We will go side by side as we prepare, though, for what could be the money restart for these drivers. 10 cautions. This is number 10 for 36 laps. It's going to change a little bit here. 7 lead changes at Darlington. We'll be right back after a message from our partners here at the MPI Cup Series.
Fuller. Yeah. Needed F-150 for Smith build.
Got it.
Yesterday.
I know.
Don't forget my BMW.
Gotcha. Check this out. All the major online automotive sites in one place. BMW, done. F-150, done.
How's he do it?
I can search nationwide, even those classified sites. Auto Tempest, all the cars, one search. That's how I do it.
There is Max Papis in the Ferrari. As great a race as Ferrari has ever won.
steering wheel for me has always been a sensitive spot. There's a whole experience there that we're all trying to refine. Max Pappas, he asked me one day, he says, what can I do in a wheel? I said, well, with the new...
Welcome back to the virtual Darlington Raceway, the Throwback 200 for the MPI Cup Series, as we round lap 121 of 147. You saw the field doubling up that time across the start-finish line. Leader, not Joe Sanchez, Lawson Peel opting for the bottom side of the racetrack. Can't say I blame him, although Miranda looked good off the top. So we'll see how this one goes for Lawson Peel out front. Warren Kyle Keith will restart from second. It'll be Steven Stempian restarting third and Joe Sanchez fourth. Wyatt Brackett will restart from the fifth position. And Garrett Brown, who's been lurking just about the entire day, will restart from sixth. Michelle, Kelly, Miranda, and Herb make up your top 10. As we go down to the restart zone, pace car down to the safety of pit lane. 26 laps to go at the drop of the green. What a restart for Stempian. Green flag is out. Oh, Lawson Peel sideways out of the corner. Down to the bottom side, he's being joined by Michelle, who barely gets the wall. Yellow's out. Chris Progar in trouble. This guy's night has been rough.
I saw it was a slip and slide there out of turn 2. You know what? That is one of the few times. It might be the second time actually, but the entire field was on fresh tires, completely nighttime, packed up, and it was about a 15-20 car slip and slide out of turn 2.
This might have even taken some contact to get. He's back here racing with Schoonover, Danielson, Reeves. He's got no spoiler on the car, so I'd see how he would spin out. And is there contact? Yeah, Schoonover comes off the wall and turns him around. Oh, bad Mike gets worse.
What a miss for Reedy and Sturgeon.
Very good heads-up plays from each of them. Maybe our most cut-and-dry yellow of the evening, Emerson. Real simple. Schoonover came off the wall, made some contact, and unfortunately, it was the Bobby Hamilton throwback of Chris Progar who takes the biggest hit of all. Yeah.
Unfortunately, not even... I mean, Schoonover did come off the wall for sure, but it's not like he had much else to go. It's just how packed up the field was. It was just kind of incidental.
A lot of damage there on the 17.
Absolutely. Front end matches the back end.
I'll give you that. It does. What's just happened, though, is Lawson Peel lost the lead out of turn number 2. And would you believe it? R81 back out front. About the only clean car in the field, aside from maybe Lawson. I think he's got a little bit of right rear damage. Steven Stempian has got to feel good about this one, Emerson.
Certainly. And yeah, it's you keep the car clean by staying out of that trouble. Look at that slow. What is that? 6th or 8th? I can't read that. 8th. Sure, and that's because I probably 7 cars pitted on the previous caution. Like he has been track position king today. Just keeping it up there and not getting side by side with many people, unless he's sure of it or unless he has to avoid an accident. And Stempian, I mean, way to take advantage of it. Warren Cal Keefe, he was. Man, he had the blanket and pillows and everything. He was sleeping on that restart, but he will at least take advantage of Lawson Peel's mistake off of turn 2 to be restarting second.
Yeah, no, he's second again, right where we had that issue last restart.
Right,
so,
right.
You know, does he throw the blanket and the pillows out the window, or is he still snoozing on this one? You know, if it was me, I'd still be hitting snooze. I don't get out of bed in the morning, but he's got to get something going on this restart. He has got to go side by side, I think, to turn one with Stempian, or at least close to it. He's got to be side by side with Steven as soon as he can be. And I think Warren can make this pass potentially, but he's got to position himself off the restart. It's going to take a really, really good go of things at the drop of the green flag to do that. Let's dial up somebody else in the field. We've dialed up a few drivers this evening. Let's go a little deeper, though. Find somebody that's had maybe a little bit of trouble this evening. Dakota Curtis has just kind of had an up-and-down evening, and Emerson here is driver of the one-car Podium Esports down there with Joseph Mahar and some of those guys, and I think he could definitely use maybe a turnaround in the last 20 laps.
Yeah, Dakota Curtis, he has been all over the place today, all over the midfield for sure. Dakota, you were starting to work your way up into that top 10 there in the middle portion of this race. That car, it's not working the way you'd want it to. What's it doing?
Actually, the car's really fast. I'm really enjoying it. It's just what's happening is I'm getting stuck behind people who are a little bit slower, and it's kind of holding me back. Kind of hard to pass here, so just trying to work my way back up. I was up in actually 8th at one point, and then I stopped and just got my damage fixed, and pushed me back to 25th. And what usually happens, I work my way up to around 11th, and then usually a caution comes out, and then I get stuck behind someone else, or I get loose off of 2. So it's working great. It's just getting loose off of 2, and it's kind of my fault. I keep putting it below I keep putting it on the apron, and the car just ends up getting a little loose on the end. So,
well, y'all are becoming to the restart this time, Dakota. Restarting 17th. We'll see if you can make your way on up higher in the field. Maybe we'll talk to you a little later on. Who knows? Best luck.
Hopefully.
Dakota Curtis going to restart from the 17th spot. And he's a little deep in the field, but we'll see what he can do here. Steven Stepien in control of the field. Warren, Kyle Keith outside. Then it's Lawson Peel and Joe Sanchez in the 4th spot. Restart is live. Green flag is out at Darlington. Much better restart that time for Warren, but he's not where he needs to be, Emerson. I think he's got to challenge the 81 as soon as possible.
See, watching the rest of the field, actually clean through turn 2. Keith, now we've seen he's really strong on this end of the speed.
Oh no, Warren in the wall! He oversteps the bounds, and he's going to loop it out of the corner. Maybe not loop it, but he's in the fence. My goodness. Warren, don't bill me for the hardware bill. Man.
I don't even know. Sideways is the 40 of the Muscarella. He actually holds on to it. There's a wreck out of 2 now. Judd Danielson.
Car 85 turned around, and oh, Progar involved again. Fulham involved. Man. That's a painful one. Here's what happened out of turn number 2. Judd Danielson, Brad Fulham, the Davey Allison tribute, and the Monster 45. Curtis got loose, but then Fulham, I think, came off the wall a bit, collected Danielson, and they have a crash. Fulham comes down the wall. Travis Stevens got the fence on his own.
Oh, nowhere for Progar to go.
I don't understand how Progar is still in this race, but now I think finally gets motor damage. I say finally. Not finally as in good, but finally as in I expected it 3 cautions ago. Here's a more detailed look at what happened here between these two.
Similar to what we just had in the previous caution. This one a little lower down on the track, but Fulham was up on the top side and trying to make a move. Danielson almost had it.
Just got loose out of the corner, came down and got him. Then something happens here to Travis. He gets hit. Somebody hit him there. It might have been Brandon Banks.
I imagine Stevens is probably trying to slow down for it. Other drivers maybe didn't realize. I don't think the caution was out yet at that point.
I tell you, it wasn't Brandon Banks. It's going to be Chris Progar who gets him here out of the corner.
Double whammy for 17.
Yeah, Progar hits Stevens into the crash and then gets involved after hitting Danielson. Chris is just not having a good night. And I think Progar is definitely done. Stevens, I think, is still under power, but barely. So we'll see if he maybe calls it an evening. And I am sorry to the Warren Kyle Keith fans. He's not done, but that car's seen better days.
That's unfortunate. I was just about to compliment him there on a 3 and 4. He was able to get the entry, a hard entry, and a great exit on the long run before the caution came out, before the slew of cautions. That's what we were both kind of saying, Andrew, and right here just overdrove the corner.
He's gonna get loose right in the center. You hear the downshift to 4th. RPMs are up, and the back end just comes out from underneath him. And you know what, Emerson? That's the most classic bit of getting loose I think I've ever seen with an next-gen car. He got back to power, the rear stepped out, and it wasn't in a snappy way. It wasn't like it completely jerked the entire rear end housing or anything like that, like you sometimes saw with the low downforce package on iRacing. This is a very classic issue. We haven't seen much of it with more recent builds of the Gen 6 or the Gen 7, but he's just overstepping the balance a little bit. The rear steps out, not quite able to hold on, and he goes up into the fence. And in the real NASCAR Cup Series, you would see that all the time with the low downforce Gen 6 package. I think at least on iRacing, the Gen 7 is working.
From a physics standpoint, certainly.
It's those kind of classic mistakes that I think would bring up the best in drivers. You had to hang on to the car, and I'm sure Warren will have different opinions at the moment, but it's good to see that drivers have to drive the car at the very least.
Yeah, what Warren's thinking now is, what did I do wrong? Where the tire's not up to temp yet?
What Warren's thinking now is how to get me back to the commentator first.
Well, that's if he's listening right now. He might be thinking that a little later if he's watching back.
Well, he was also in the booth with us when I went and knocked on wood again for him, and apparently that's not working for me this evening. So yeah, I really got to find a different good luck charm, or at least a different way to clear these jinxes tonight. It has not been good. We'll have 15 laps to go at the drop of the green flag. And 15 laps to go. This race has marched along. I know more recently it's kind of slowed down a little bit. Caution slowing us down up to 12 for 45. It'll be 46 laps at the drop of the green. But all in all, Emerson, has been a good race.
It has been. It's been a good showcase of the next-gen car. It's been a classic Darlington race when we do get those green flag runs where you really have to work to set up a pass. The turn 2 chaos is kind of what you get when you have a lot of cars at Darlington, especially this next-gen car. It's been a pretty good, pretty typical Darlington race.
From the top of the turn 4 stands, you see the field working into the restart zone. Stepien in control of the field, and we are green. Down the backstretch, nose to tail, Stepien, Peel, then Sanchez and Brown. Nobody in this top 4 has had anything for Stepien. Really nobody in the top 5, the top 10. Nobody tonight has had anything for Stepien aside from Warren Kyle Keith, and he's nowhere to be found.
Sanchez had a great, I'm sorry, not Sanchez, Lawson Peel had a great run out of turn 2 on the restart, but he's since lost that advantage. We'll see if he's able to reel him back in here. Sanchez kind of holding up Garrett Brown and Mario Miranda. Mario Miranda's back up here.
Yeah, but here we go. A pass maybe. Wyatt Brackett looks to the inside. Wyatt challenging for a spot.
He didn't have the momentum or to run off the corner to really get this one done. But if he set that up out of 4, he might have had a chance to dive it into 1.
Could be a learning moment there for car 10. There's problems further back. Kip Easley into a big battle here with several drivers. Justin Winters in the middle of it. They'll work on a turn number 2. Sean Kalis here. Justin Erb. Winters. The very loose in one car in the wall. That's Feltz. He keeps rolling, but just barely.
We'll continue going. Brackett did make that move on Miranda. 508. This is Ray Rogers in 11th. Can he maybe, first break away from this pack, but is there still a top 10 alive for that 18th car?
Watching Kalis go on by Winters in front of Erb. Oh, these cars are stepping out. There it goes. Kalis down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, I was going to say Kalis is one of those drivers who stayed out for stage 3. And then obviously that caution got everybody back on the same fresh tires. So he was trying to benefit a little bit from the added track position. He's unfortunately kind of been falling since.
You mentioned that battle with Brackett and Miranda as we hit 11 to go the last time by. Brackett had taken the spot and now has lost it again. So car 99 back on his way towards maybe a 4th place finishing position with Garrett Brown. And Brackett has to challenge him once again. Stempien starting to eke out a 2nd+ lead on the field. I just don't see how anybody is going to beat car 81 without another yellow.
He's opened up nearly an 8/10 of a second advantage. Lost in Peel. The really only time I saw him outdo Stempien was turn 2, and even that, Stempien is now starting to even that out. Sanchez is hanging there in 3rd, and the way he was looking earlier, it looked like he was actually going to free fall a little bit more through the field. He's held station on the podium for now.
I think the big thing with Stempien is we have not seen him make those mistakes out of turn 2 that we've seen the rest of the field have. Just little things out of the corners. A yellow will fly. This might be the opportunity everybody needs to get Steven Stempien. Dakota Curtis and Dustin Reeves are in trouble. But on that point with Stempien, we have not seen mistakes this evening. He has been just about perfect. Everybody else, I feel like when they get into the lead, it's like, yeah, maybe they hang on to it, maybe they get loose. As oh boy, problems for Dakota Curtis.
That might have been a frustration trying to get back going.
Gotta be careful here. Does get the car turned around, but you see drivers going low to miss him. Dustin Reeves also involved. And yeah, he's got no nose. Go back and see what happened between these drivers. I can tell you that Reeves did have a nose before this incident. Here's Dakota Curtis. He was working on Isaac Mock. Mock is in 15th, so that gives you some context as to where this would have happened. Warren Kyle Keith there. Does he get involved in this somehow? Keith down to the apron to miss Curtis. There you see Reeves get into this, and it happens in 3 and 4, it looks like, so it's going to happen this time. Oh, and Reeves just hits him.
Oh.
And those are 2 of the top admins in the league.
Well,
I would not want to be in the admin conversation after this one.
Can they take themselves to the booth, to the admin room,
to the holler? Yeah.
Yeah. Take each other.
That'd be the equivalent of saying, what's his name now? Is it Jim France? No, it's not Jim France. Is it Jim France? Well, go back 20 years maybe, and you're saying Brian France and Mike Helton to the holler, please. And that's, I mean, that sentence has never been iterated ever in the history of the whole wide world of ever. Let's go back and see this one more time. And just watch car 6 get into car number 1 here. This is the onboard from Curtis. Yeah.
So I think Curtis he was struggling that entire time, and Reeves maybe was going to be able to take advantage of it, misjudged maybe, I guess, where the 1 was going to pick up the throttle.
Yeah.
Fortunately. And
well, that's the tough part of running at tracks like this, where you've got to modulate the throttle, give it a little gas, then get back off it. You're right. The driving line differs so much that you're getting into the throttle when somebody else is, never thinking about it, and you've got to try and expect, you've got to try and anticipate that kind of thing. And it's so difficult to run in a pack or even run nose to tail as 2 cars. Maybe even just in practice, it's so tough to do that kind of thing and not have trouble.
Certainly, drivers have more confidence in the car. If this opens out, if people have cars that can handle a little bit more speed into the corner. As far as that goes, Curtis's car was already pretty much destroyed, and there probably wasn't that much confidence in the car, and Reeves had a little bit more confidence on the entry to the corner, and they met.
Well, it's crunch time, Emerson. We're going to have less than 5 laps to go at the drop of the green. This next time by the flags, it'll be 5 to go under caution. Do we get 4? Do we get 3? Do we get another yellow? Do we have overtime here at Darlington? I think that's likely at this point.
The pace we're having, yellows, the amount of cars still running, absolutely. Oh, man.
A note on Ray Rogers, we were talking about a little while ago. He's into 12th. lost a spot to Justin Winters, who's now into 11th position. So good nights for both of these drivers. We've talked about them briefly at several moments. Winters started 11th, currently back into 11th, but look at that, it's low. As low as 37th tonight. And Rogers, relatively similar, but he started 26th, and it's been low as 33rd. So definitely, in Ray Rogers' case, a pretty good night. I think when you consider all of that, the up and the down. Justin Erb, he's been all over the place as well, as low as 29th. Sean Kalist as low as 32nd after starting 23rd. So a lot of good nights working for these guys that are in this midfield. They want to keep those going. So for their sake and for everybody's sake, really, we want to see a good race at the end here, a good finish. Let's hope we don't see another drop of the yellow flag. We will see the green drop this time by with 4 laps to go.
Certainly, those are some drivers that just need to kind of miss the final bits of the chaos here. I want, if this goes how last restart went, I want y'all to see what kind of a run Lawson Peel can get out of turn 2. Because he really, he was really right on stepping into turn 3, and then from then on he didn't have another opportunity at it. So will he maybe be more aggressive?
Problem is, where he's restarting, he's on the outside of row 1, second place, never where you want to restart. Green flag is out. Peel gets a good jump. He's hanging with Stempien through the gears, and a problem for Garrett Brown. We've got a big crash. Yellow back out. Trying to find the right camera for this, but big trouble in the middle of the field. Oh my, they're still crashing.
Somebody clipped Miranda. Miranda spun back into traffic. It didn't look good.
It all started with Garrett Brown in car 16. He's slow on the restart. Let's see if we can find a good camera angle. The blimp might have to be it. Brown, misshift there. Gets into Miranda. Miranda goes sliding. He comes back up the racetrack maybe, or... Oh my goodness, Fulham in the air.
Oh no.
Wow. A lot of carnage out of turn 1.
They're still wrecking.
Well, we are going to MPI Cup Series overtime then here at Darlington Raceway. I think that much we can count on.
I figured we'd at least make it to turn 1.
See everything happen there at the bottom right of your screen. They come back up the racetrack. Brown gets Fulham. No. Sends him in the air. Mahar is collected. Feltz is collected. And Parker Bland does a slide and, yeah, gets collected pretty good there. Trouble for a lot of drivers that just needed to exit Darlington without too much trouble. They found themselves trouble on what was going to be the final restart of the night. On board here with Brad Fulham. My goodness.
Garrett Brown was still out of control. I thought at that point he was under control, but no, that car kicked sideways back into traffic.
Problems for the 01 on that one as well. Parker Bland very much involved in this.
Still surprised this wasn't a larger crash.
I'll share that surprise with you, Emerson. Here's Parker Bland. You see he's following Brad Mahar through the gears. Here's something's wrong, lifts, checks up, and then gets back in it. He's okay, and then loses it on his own. And unfortunately pops the wall, then gets hit there by Fulham. He was so nearly through it. And let's revisit the issue on board with car 16. So this is Garrett Brown on the restart. Second, pulls third, and it's in a neutral. Yeah. Missed the gear. Wow.
Man,
that is the most gut-wrenching feeling as a driver.
I have spun in front of the field because of a missed gear on the restart before. It was here, but it was an Xfinity curse. It was not a fun feeling.
Brackett got him pretty good. See the carnage it creates here on the front stretch. Cars coming by. Miranda's taken out in it. Sturgeon goes through. Feltz gets a lot of damage. And it's extending our throwback 200 at the Darlington Raceway. So Garrett Brown, big trouble there. Usually flying the MPI colors tonight. flying the Valvoline colors instead as a throwback to Mark Martin. Our race leader, though, Steven Stempian out front of the field over Lawson Peel, Joe Sanchez. Going to be tough to change that. Daniel Michel, 4th. Wyatt Brackett, 5th. Alex Muscarella, Emerson, he's back into the top 10.
I don't know.
You know what? What do you say we dial him up? Where is he at? He's down there with the Sega guys, right? Yeah, he is. Here is driver of the 48 then. This only seems fitting.
Alex Muscarella, it has been a wild day. You've started from the pole. You were a lap down. You're now restarting inside the top 10. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like I really hate myself for getting loose into 3 because I'm down power and I've worked my way back to 6. So,
well, an overtime restart here outside row 3. How aggressive? Or what do you have to do to make up as many spots as you can here?
I just gotta hope they get checked up on the inside because I am a dump truck into 1. I'm so slow into 1, so I've just gotta hope for the best, really.
All right, on to Jimmy Throwback. Looking good. It was looking amazing out in front as well. Let's see if you can get back up there. Best luck to you, Alex, and hopefully we're talking to you in a few laps time.
Alex Muscarella getting ready for the restart here. Steven Stempian in control. Then it's Lawson Peel, Joe Sanchez, Daniel Michel, Wyatt Brackett. Then you get Mozzarella Stick in the 6th position as we come back to the green. 2 laps to go in the Throwback 200 at Darlington. One car, heavy in the wall. It's Kip Easley. We stay green for now. If we get the white flag, the finish goes official. Out front, it's Stempian. Sanchez now 2nd as we come to the white flag presented by Whiplash Sim Cams.
Yeah, Peel smacked the wall to turn 2 to allow Sanchez to get the 2nd, and Stempian to scamper away. It's chaos. Crashing in 1. Cars in the fence.
Muscarella goes through, but out front, Steven Stempian is down the Boeing backstretch to turn number 3, and uncontested will go car 81 through 3 and 4. Steven Stempian is going to drive to victory in South Carolina in the Throwback 200. Car 81 goes to victory lane.
He's going to have to roll it down quick here. This car's in the catch fence in turn 2.
You see the field race back to the stripe. What a chaotic finish. Sanchez goes 2nd, then it's Peel, Muscarella, and Winter Zeke's out of top 5. Rogers 6th, Curtis Kelly 7th, Sean Kalis 8th, Wyatt Brackett 9th, and Isaac Mock grabs the top 10. More of the field coming through. I think Justin Erb, the last of the lead lap cars to finish this evening. And yes, indeed, he was. Wow.
An absolutely chaotic restart. We got the overtime restart. Stempian scampered away. He placed that car right all day long. That car, is it not just already clean?
Fantastic job by Stempian. Perfectly in front of our start-finish line camera as well. Beautiful vantage point for some donuts. In Darlington, South Carolina, car 81 just could not be beat this evening. He deserves these burnouts. Any win at Darlington is hard-earned. He deserves these ones.
Is that 100 laps led on the dot?
100 on the dot. Only 47, well, I guess 50 with the extension. Only 50 of these laps tonight that we ran were not led by car 81 out of 150 total. It's a good night.
2/3 of the night. You'll burn out up against that outside wall.
And the motor lights go, but again, he's deserved this one. He's earned this one, and he will go to victory lane. Let's go ahead and dial up then. Driver of the 81. I have to dig for him in the Discord channels, but man, what a good night of racing, especially for Stempian, as he is down with, why can't I find driver 81? I found him, Steven Stempian. All right, well, 200 laps or 200 miles later, plus a little bit, 150 laps later, the guy who swept the stages, sweeps the evening, Steven Stempien. It's got to feel even better than Talladega, I'd say.
Oh yeah, for sure. This Darlington's a special place to win at, man. I love this track. It's just old school, and it's just a special moment winning here, man.
And you lead 2/3 of the night doing it, even with the overtime extension, 100 laps of 150 led. What did you have that the rest of the field didn't?
Just a lot of practice, I guess. It's something about Darlington that I have down, and I just know how to race the track. I just like letting it coast up to the wall and just running that wall. It's a fun time, man. It's just it's a blast to race at. It's a little tight, obviously, but once you get around and you're the leader, you got some clear lanes. I mean, you're just in the groove.
A lot of drivers, myself included, would probably answer that question with their hands up saying they don't know. I love the confidence you exude here. How about Kansas in a week? I mean, you've got 2 wins now in the season. In fact, 2 in the last 3 or 4 weeks? Car 81 is looking the best of anybody in the series suddenly. But things might change next week. How do you approach Kansas?
We'll see. I mean, this is obviously a talent field, man. There's a lot of good drivers here. I'm just happy, that Talladega win, obviously, super speedway, anything can happen. But this win feels really good to get a win here with all the talent in this league, and especially my teammates. Big shout out to my teammates at Drinking Bros Racing. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Was it 1, 2, 3, 4? 1, 2, 3. Danny was fourth, but. A huge help to Brandon too. Once he got out of the race, he was spawning for us, and that was pretty big. So I'd like to give them a shout out. Love to give a shout out to my boys at Cat 5 Esports and everybody in this league too. You guys for doing the show. Happy Mother's Day to my beautiful fiance and my mother out there. Love them both.
And how much more special is it to win on Throwback Night in Throwback 200 at Darlington in a Dale/Ralph Earnhardt throwback? I know you won at Talladega in a Dale Earnhardt Jr. throwback, but this one only adds the layers onto Throwbackception, and it seems like throwbacks are bringing you these W's.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to start running the Dale Jr. schemes a little bit more often. It's been pretty good luck for me. The couple times I worked for Chevy, I run my Chevy schemes, but I haven't had good luck. I've had strong runs, but has misfortune in a couple of races this season. So I'm hoping I'm turning it around, get some good luck. Obviously, it's all about luck. Try and stay out of trouble. Looking forward to Kansas. I think Kansas is going to be fun, and we'll see what happens. But it's special. Obviously, like I said, to win in this car. I love the throwback, the whole theme of it. So it's good to see. There's a lot of good-looking cars out there tonight.
Big time congrats are in order this evening, Steven. Nobody could touch car 81 this evening, and you go ahead and get the race win. 2 wins now in the season. Thanks for your time. Congratulations tonight. We'll see you next week in Kansas. I
appreciate it, guys. You have a good week.
Steven Stempien with a really, really strong night this evening, Emerson, and nobody can touch him. I really do wonder then if we come to more driver tracks like this where you got a lot more off-throttle time, if we got to watch out for the car 81 just a little bit more. It's certainly seeming like it, but this is also a pretty small sample size. We'll see as the season goes on. Let's go ahead and run through our race results, though, and take a small break afterwards. You can see Steven Stempien with only 2 laps from the restart, nearly a second over Joe Sanchez. Lawson Peel goes third, a second behind car 55. Alex Muscarella fires through all of that mayhem to go fourth. Justin Winters fifth, then Ray Rogers, Curtis Kelly, and Sean Kalis before Wyatt Brackett and Isaac Mock wrap up your top 10.
11th, we have Bill Schoonover, who will finish 7.5 seconds off the lead. Warren Cal Keefe had a great run going. It'll be 12th, 4-42. Viol Parker Bland finishes 13th. Dakota Curtis, 14th. Joseph Mahar, 15th. After he got some laps led, it'll be Charles Feltz finishing up in the 16th position. Now getting into some of the cars that were involved in that last lap chaos. Cars up in the fence. Kip Easley finishes 17th. Mario Miranda was the one car I noticed high up in the air in 18th. Dustin Reeves 19th, Daniel Mitchell in 20th, still on the lead lap.
21st, Justin Erb, the final car on the lead lap at the end, and 22nd, you find the first car Well, not 1 lap down, but 2 laps down. Chris Progar in 22nd, then Chris Shoemaker 23rd, Garrett Brown 24th, and Austin Reedy 26th. 7 laps down, or 25th there for Austin Reedy. 7 laps down though for Brad Fullo in 26th. 9 laps down for Logan Sturgeon at 27th. Then it's Travis Stevens, Judd Danielson, and Justin Hendry with early exits.
The rest of Heartbreakers row will find 31st. Brandon Banks, 57 down. Richard Swavely in car 32 will place P32, 69 laps down. James Kunkel finishes 33rd, 72 down. Ross Harlow, 34th, 76 down. Cody Kinsey, 35th, 77 down. Austin Shoemaker, 36, 92 down. Daniel Holcroft, 37th, 95 down. Casey Knighton, 38th, 128 down. And Brian Curry had the earliest exit of the night, leaving the session very early, 39th, 145 down.
39 cars show up this evening. The 81 is the best of them all. Steven Stepien goes to victory lane at Darlington. We will take a quick step aside and be ready for you in just a few moments with more post-race coverage from the Throwback 200 at Darlington.
Is that I own MPI, the steering wheel company, and I'm building the steering wheel. This is my creation.
This is yours?
Yes.
It's so sexy.
The steering wheel, it's a very unique thing. It's shaped on the hand of Scott Dixon.
His hand.
Yeah. This grip has 27% more grip feel than suede. Scott in the race is gonna make less effort when it drives. When you're in the car, it's like lifting, it's like having 40-pound dumbbell like this, maybe more in the car.
For how long?
3.5 hours. You know, average heart rate in the car, never below 150. Never below 150. You need to be a real athlete to drive. Yeah. They exercise every day. So this is my creation. Amazing. And we did.
Fuller.
Yeah.
Need an F-150 for Smith build.
Got it.
Yesterday.
I know.
Don't forget my BMW.
Gotcha. Check this out. All the major online automotive sites in one place. BMW, done. F-150, done.
How's he do it?
I can search nationwide, even those classified sites. Auto Tempest, all the cars, one search. That's how I do it.
Hi everyone, I'm Max Papis, founder of MPI. Let me introduce you to a line that we developed in MPI that is really dear to me. The MPI SimMax. Obviously, SimMax, the guy here. The reason of birth of SimMax is the fact that nowadays I believe that sim racing and virtual racing is exactly the platform to start. I consider sim racing and virtual racing very similar to the experience I had in go-kart when I started in my racing. And let me introduce you to our line of authentic steering wheel created specifically for the sim community.
Welcome back to the virtual Darlington Raceway. You're taking a look at some daytime B-roll, but we finished under the lights in the Throwback 200. And first up, that's worth talking about, is this replay right here. Mario Miranda at the end of this race. Let's take a look at what happens to him here, Emerson. You were talking about it in our quick post-race break. Apparently, a whole lot went wrong.
Yeah, there's just a lot. So this is Mario Miranda. He's working up the inside of Bill Schoonover. Schoonover gets the wall, and now he's up to the inside of Charles Phelps. And this is the lap before. You see Miranda bobble. There's one car that I think that was easily. Yeah, that was the one that we noticed. And then
wow, what a send!
Miranda was on it. He was trying to make up all those spots. Unfortunately, he gets caught up in some carnage that happened in turn 2.
We saw some carnage with Wyatt Brackett and some others. So here's Miranda into turns 1 and 2 behind Isaac Mock. Now, what happens here? I haven't seen this yet myself. Oh my God. Well, right into Daniel Michel. And then something's going to get a whole lot worse. Here comes Sturgeon. Wow. He nearly cleared the catch fence.
I thought he was going over, but he landed back on his wheels to finish. He finished on the lead lap still.
Oh, he went over. He just didn't stay over. That was a really good landing there to get back onto his wheels. Let's take a look from his onboard. Slams into Michel. Here comes Sturgeon right about here. Wow.
And he stuck the landing.
Now, to start this incident, we briefly saw the issues with Wyatt Brackett and company. Let's check this out one more time into turn number 1. He's following Michel, who's following Peel, and ahead of Curtis Kelly. Kelly takes a look to the inside of car 10, lunges, gets Michel. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was just a really aggressive move. Muscarella gets through, and Michel comes back on the racetrack, collects Urban Moore.
Muscarella, he got himself a nice little finish. He was he was struggling a little bit on that restart. You could tell he was down on power a little bit, but he just squeaked through the initial wreck, and he ended up with 4th.
Let's go on board with car 48 then. Muscarella back here. Sees the initial wreck happening. Scrapes right on by Wyatt Brackett. Gets back after it. And he goes 4th in this race. You can see Curtis Kelly trying to get back after him, but to no avail as Justin Winters comes up on Curtis Kelly here. How does he get this last spot? I didn't think Curtis Kelly gets loose on his own in 3 and 4. Curtis is well ahead of him through the corner. I didn't think there was any kind of penalty, and Justin just drives to the outside. Wow. Lucky break there.
I wonder if Kelly had suspension damage or if the
no,
tires just lit up.
Let's go ahead and rewind the sim then and bring in some extra drivers here at the back end of our night. Of course, we talked with our winner, Steven Stempian, first up, but now let's bring in driver of the 55, Joe Sanchez, who goes 2nd place this evening. And Joe, it was a good night of getting back to where I think the 55 cars should be. Really strong, but quietly strong. You always hovered around the top 10 or so. How'd your night go from your point of view?
It was a really, really sketchy track. Turn 2, like everyone else was saying, it was really slick off the corner, but it was really hoping to get more green flag runs in because the car really came alive after about 20 to 30 laps. But you know, happy to get a P2 out of it, and you know, a 1, 2, 3 for Drinking Bros Racing. That was really, really cool. I was hoping Daniel there could made it a 1 through 4, but I guess he got into some stuff there in turn 1. But you know, a good day to end the race, and you know, we'll move on to Kansas next week.
Now, Drinking Bros Racing, you guys are leading the Auto Tempest team standings. How big of a deal is that to you guys? I know, obviously, there's the overall driver standings that Steven is really well within. You're in there with a win yourself, and obviously that's the main focus, but how important are these team standings to you guys?
They're pretty important. I think it's a big, you know, bragging right in the league to have the lead in the team standings, but I think more so, I think we're all a really well-rounded team. We race very aggressive, but also very conservative, and don't put ourselves into situations that, can cause conflict or, issues for everyone around us. So usually that usually prevails, towards the end of the races and stuff. But, very happy with how our team is performing as a whole.
I think you definitely should be. P2 this evening, battling with a couple of teammates. Congratulations on a really solid effort here at Darlington. We'll see you next week at Kansas.
Thanks, guys.
Joe Sanchez goes P2 this evening. I think a really solid night. Got to be happy with that if you're Joe Sanchez. And everybody else there at Drinking Bros Racing, they have got something going for them. Lawson Peel up next. He's restarted second, Emerson, but he did not finish there, dropping behind a couple of his teammates.
Yeah, Lawson Peel was able to get some laps led throughout the night, 27. In fact, I'd imagine that's probably the second most. Peel had a lot of pace there in that third stage. Was having some amazing restarts coming out of turn 2. That last one, he just popped the wall. Was it a little too much, or what happened?
Yeah, I just was not a fan of all those restarts. I don't like restarts. They're very unnerving, and would have definitely liked to seen some longer green flag stretches there. Have the tires come in, let the car tighten up a little bit, and see who's who on the long run. But yeah, just didn't get that opportunity. Just tons of cautions, and I got the wall a little bit on that last green white checkered, and my teammate Joe got by me, but no sweat. I'm super proud to have a 1-2-3 Drinking Bros finish, and congratulations to my teammate Steven Stimpian for bringing it home there. He was just the dominant car all night and the class of the field, so he deserved that one, and good to see him bring that one home. It was well deserved.
Sure, you're starting to string together some amazing runs. You had a run there at Stempian one, I think on the third to last restart, where you could have dove it into turn 3, but you said he's your teammate, so you probably out of respect of your teammate didn't send it. Was that your last chance? Did you have anything for Steven if those restarts kept happening, or on the 2-lap shootout, or?
I don't think so. He was definitely being conservative through 1 and 2 the first lap after a restart, just because it can be sketchy and really loose through there, not being fully up to speed. So but after that first corner, he really kind of set the pace and started gapping us. So I think my better chance would have been on a really long green flag run, just to see if I could have saved tires better and done something at the end. But obviously we just never even came close to getting that opportunity. I was well positioned up there after the first stage and got wrecked obviously right there at the beginning of stage 2, which was extremely frustrating, and had to just go back into all the chaos and mayhem and just try to survive coming back through there, which I was very lucky to do. Joe and I both, because we both got sent back there at the beginning of stage 2, and super lucky to have survived to get back up to the front there to start the third stage and just sort of maintain our track position. If I wouldn't have gotten loose that restart when I restarted ahead of Warren and Steven in third, I just got a little loose in the clean air off of turn 2. Would have liked to have seen what would have happened if I wouldn't have lost the lead that way, but Steven was definitely the dominant car, so I think everything kind of shook out the way it should have here.
Fair enough. He's going to put some runs together here. You got a couple intermediates coming up. How do you feel about the tracks coming up?
Super excited, man. I'm ready to get back to the ovals. Got Kansas, Atlanta, Charlotte coming up, I believe. 3 good tracks for me. Hopefully we can, just have some cleaner racing there, get some green flag runs going. That's where I do better, man. We've had, road courses, short tracks, dirt tracks the past 5 or 6. So it's been just an array of different stuff that's really not my cup of tea. Ready to get back to those ovals where I feel comfortable. And hopefully we can just get some better racing. The racing tonight was just not good. So everybody just really sending it through turn 2, probably harder than they should, and not driving within their capabilities. So me and my Drinking Bros teammates, we'd like to kind of just take a conservative approach and save our car, and have something to be there at the end and have a chance. And see, we finished 1, 2, 3. We were positioned for a 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So we really try to be smart and survive and be there at the end, and that certainly paid off for us tonight. But yeah, it was just dodging wrecks everywhere, man. It's scary.
Right on. Well, appreciate your time, Loss. Congratulations on the 1, 2, 3 for the team. The third place finish for yourself personally. Best of luck to you in the races coming up.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Lawson Peel goes third this evening, just ahead of Alex Muscarella, and this guy, Justin Winters, who puts together a pretty darn good-looking throwback this evening in car 88. And Justin, all over the place, truly all over the place. Darlington, how'd your night go from your point of view?
Up and down, just like you said, all over the place. Started 11th. Within the first 20 laps, I was 33rd. And then we went like 4 laps down, and I just was patient and got my laps back. And somehow or another, we ended up 5th. So I think we went from not bad starting spot to terrible circumstances to a lucky finish.
Now, of course, we know your name from the Bluegrass iRacing series, eons back it feels like, but it seems like you and Wyatt have found a home here in the MPI Cup Series. How has that change been? I don't know how long you've been in this series now, but it seems like you're fitting right in, competing with these guys at a very respectable level.
Oh, yeah. The guys at the NPM are very welcoming, and I've been racing with them for about, I don't know, a couple seasons at least. Yeah, me and Wyatt came over from there. Me and him both have been competitive in this series. So yeah, it's kind of cool to race with him in another series. And this series is very, very competitive, and I really like racing in the MPI series.
Obviously, you had a good throwback, I think, helping you out just a little bit tonight. Maybe not in the way of Ross Chastain, but certainly the Dale Jr. vibes pulling through. How do you attack Kansas next week with, I'm sure, another good-looking paint scheme there? Obviously, you know, it seems like driver tracks have been kind of all over the place, and Kansas kind of can be a driver's track with the way the car works out. How do you feel? Have you practiced yet? How do you feel about next week?
I haven't practiced yet. I'll probably do that a little bit tomorrow. Hopefully I can figure out a way to be consistent. This season I've been very inconsistent. Haven't helped my team in the team standings at all. Hopefully I can start helping them in the team. Big shout out to all my teammates at SKM for helping me adapt to this track. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have finished as good as I did tonight either.
There you go. Justin Winters with a really, really solid effort here, and I think the result really helping Car 88 a lot in the standings then. Justin, thanks for your time. Congratulations on at least a good run by the end, and we'll see you next week in Kansas.
Man, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that watched, and we'll see you next time.
Justin Winters with Old School Diecast on the side of his Chevrolet. Really, really solid finish for the number 88 Emerson. What do you take away from this one? I mean, this was crazy through and through. I still don't know how to feel about everything we saw.
I think, you know, this next-gen car made a typical Darlington race just a little bit better. We had a few lead changes today. Most of them were strategy. There's a couple straight-up overtakes for the lead. The passing, a little bit more, I guess, above average to what we've seen in the Gen 6 car. But kind of alluded to it earlier. This is more of a car that it's harder to drive. These drivers have to be laser focused the entire time. You can't just ride around and, you know, maintain a spot. You got to be on it 100% of the time. This next gen car with the different steering box and 5 gears and everything, the shifting was a huge factor. Unfortunately, part of that I think caught out Warren Kyle Keefe on one of his slides earlier. And yeah, we had a great race tonight. I'm really intrigued to see if this carries over to the playoffs. And we're expecting some more changes to the next gen car, but I wonder if we can have a similar race for round 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see when Podium Esports bring these guys back in September. I'm really intrigued to see how Darlington goes, and not even just in the MPI Cup Series, but also for the NASCAR Cup Series. I'm very interested to see how Darlington works out. And, you know, I'm sure teams will continue to innovate on the NASCAR side, and iRacing will continue to try and match these cars as best as they can to their real-world counterparts, and maybe the fixed setup takes some changes as well, and maybe the weather works out differently. The drivers get a little more time with these cars, and Definitely. I think race 26 is going to be a lot more interesting now that we have this first race in at Darlington. Kansas next week, another one of those tracks that, I mean, if you look now at races 11 and 12, it's Darlington, Kansas. Look at round 1, it's Darlington, Kansas. And not so long ago, we were at Bristol Dirt. You have Bristol joining round 1. A lot of similarities in this last month and even next week to round 1 of the playoffs. So I think really important races happening right now for how this season and how this series takes turns later on in 2022. Of course, the All-Star race is coming up, Charlotte, Gateway, Sonoma, but Kansas next week, definitely going to be another defining moment of this season.
Certainly. Again, it's really starting that middle portion of the schedule. And I think from Kansas on, we're going to see the drivers who are going to be mainstays in the title fight this season. At least those who are going to be consistent enough to make it to the playoffs and be in the playoffs with a high enough ranking that they should be flowing through the rest of the rounds.
Yeah, I mean, look at the races we've had to this point, Emerson. Daytona, of course, is a crapshoot, I think, in the best of ways. Auto Club, from what I can tell, it raced a bit like a mix of a plate track and a driver's track. I didn't get to race any officials that week, so it's hard for me to say. But Las Vegas, definitely, you know, some of that pack racing came out with these next-gen cars. Phoenix, very much a driver's track. Atlanta, a little bit of that pack, but on the old track. And then, well, we had COTA. We had Richmond. We had Bristol Dirt. We had Talladega. We had Dover. Now Darlington. There's been no chance for any drivers to get into any kind of rhythm, that nobody's been able to settle in at any point this season, which is good and bad. I mean, it keeps these guys on their toes, but also it would be nice to see a little bit of familiarity, maybe just 2 weeks in a row, to see exactly who's going to be the drivers we have to watch for come round 3 of the playoffs, and well, even round 2, or of course the championship at Phoenix. So when we get to Kansas, then the All-Star race as a break, maybe when we get to Kansas, then Charlotte, Gateway, 3 technically intermediate tracks, if you want to include Gateway in that, we'll start to see, I think, some of the, as you said, championship leaders start to emerge properly in these next 3 points-paying races. And then, of course, Sonoma is going to be kind of nestled in there as its own thing. Nashville, I think the same thing. You'll start to see some of those championship leaders emerge. Road America, we don't know. Atlanta, again, we're going to see championship leaders start to emerge and get their foothold here on the MPI Cup Series. So these upcoming races here in this series are very, very, very important for the MPI Cup Series. Other races, other broadcasts that are important here at PitStop TV are the following. Tuesday afternoon at 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, we've got Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta. For the BSR MX-5s, that's Trophy Tuesdays with the Mazda Miatas at Road Atlanta. Then Wednesday evening, we've got the Outlaws Sim Series at Watkins Glen International. And Thursday afternoon, it's a repeat, rinse and repeat, but with different cars. BSRTC then takes to Road Atlanta. And Emerson, Outlaws at Watkins Glen, going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, the full course. We're opening up that boot to these stock cars, these next-gen vehicles that are, you know, the closest thing we got to GT3 cars when it comes to stock car racing, 5 gears, you know, brand new corners that some of these trucks probably never touched before. It's going to be a blast, and we'll see. Nicholas Shelton came down to the Outlaw Sim Series in 30 starts. He finally got his first career Outlaw Sim Series win. Will he continue that kind of dominance? Max Service opened up his point margin. Will he be able to continue that into the road courses that he, unfortunately, doesn't like so much? We'll have to see what happens Wednesday night.
A lot of places to follow PitStop TV. We certainly recommend that you do so. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all the like. Facebook.com/PitStop TV, Twitter.com/PitStop TV _ Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV. And it's the same username over on Twitch. It's Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV. And of course, you're on YouTube, YouTube.com/C/PitStop TV1. And there's also a lot of ways to watch PitStop TV. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch will all show you our broadcasts. And it's been a lot of fun from the track that's too tough to tame, but it is time to go ahead and close this one. For everybody here at PitStop TV, thanks so much for tuning in. Of course, I had Emerson Arden all night on with the coverage. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed having you around, Emerson, these last couple of weeks, and maybe we can get a few more commentators subbing in and out for this season. But it's been a treat having Emerson along for the coverage of the MPI Cup Series thus far. Until next time, be it Kansas in a week time with the MPI Cup Series this coming Sunday, or hopefully a little bit sooner, maybe with BSR MX-5s at Road Atlanta. We will see you next time. Until then, have a great night.